Who do you collect? Who do you collect? Who do you collect? Is it rookies? Is it sets in your vet? What? In my prism dripping water, that stuff wet. In my auto, get a 10, that's a bet. I might go and sell a slab, get vet. Who do you collect? Is it rookie? Is it vets? I feel trading cards from the 1800s are the best. We sing like Althea, swing and dominate the net. Yeah, that prism shiny, but the vintage cards really drip. Who the greatest of all time? Sidney Dick. And if you stuck on the fence, just ask Heidi Smith, giant legend, old gal, say it loud and represent. Alex Coachman, London Games, gold high jump event. Collecting old wax and artifacts that tell the truth. Grab the May fags because I couldn't find the Will Maru. RPS a comet. Like Tina Swoops and Coop, value skyrocketed. It's up through the roof. I had to get that bar through because our next guest that we have on, that I'm super excited to have on, is actually a Houston Comet fan. So that Tina Swoops and Coop bar just hits and resonates because that bar was out there before I met this amazing individual and human being that we're about to bring on, Miss Erica. Love what you collect on Instagram. Without further ado, we finna bring the queen on one time. What's happening? What's going on? How
Hey,
you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Man, thanks. Oh, hold on. Press pause. Oh, the iTunes still going. No, thank you for making the time to come on for real. We started this platform, Erica, probably right before the new year, a couple days before the new year, and it was because we were visibly frustrated with not seeing enough of us and feeling like there was a space for us. And rather than point the finger and place the blame anywhere else on anybody else, we put it on ourselves and said, well, why don't you just create a platform? And it doesn't mean this is the sole place, you know what I mean? There could be several more, but we just
Yes.
wanted this space to be for everyone, but also for us, by us at the same time. So thank you, you know what I'm saying, for representing, you know what I mean, as you always have been in this space too. Just that,
Yeah.
thank you for making the time to be on. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored to be on.
Man, it's an honor to have you on. I was watching. I'm not gonna lie. I always know about our guests. You know what I mean, or know of them. I'm gonna learn more about you because we've exchanged direct messages, but we've never really spoke like this before, right? But I actually went and watched your Woman of the Hobby interview just because I
Yeah.
couldn't wait to talk to you. You know what I mean? Normally I
Yep.
don't do that. Normally I'm like, I'm just gonna wait, you know what I mean, and find out everything. But I'm happy I watched it because now I got certain things that I'm extra excited about, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
to talk about, So first of all, I want to start off the way we start off with all of our guests who come on to the show. Erica, I want you to think of somebody. It can be anybody, right? That you're going to give flowers to in the form of a trading card. We're going to put somebody on the trading card, somebody that you want to honor and represent right now and give flowers to. And I don't want you to feel like you're leaving anybody out. You know what I mean? Next time we get on the show, you can give somebody else flowers. You know what I mean? But somebody who you want to be known. Maybe you wouldn't be in the seat right now in the position you are, if not for this person or group of people. You know what I mean? It can be an athlete, it could be family, it can be a teacher, it can be whoever you want it to be. Who would that person be and why?
It would be a group of people, and I would say all of my ancestors, that came
Ooh,
before me. All of them from the beginning.
ooh, I like that. Why?
Oh, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. If it wasn't for them, the world wouldn't be what it is. Just forever grateful for all of their sacrifice and um, you know, not giving up hope. And we are their hope. We have to continue that, and we are continuing that, their legacy. So I think about them daily. Everything I do is running through my veins, through my mind, through my spirit, and that's the way I move. They moving through me,
Yeah.
always,
Yeah,
always,
no, I like that. I like that. All, like you said, all of our ancestors. We can't leave
all
any
of
of
them.
them out because equally they all sacrificed and gave as much as they could in their own right for, like you said, for us to be here, for us to even
Yeah,
be here, and that's crazy. I was talking to Sam the sports card collector today, just about how it's 2022 and the Brian Flores situation
Hmm.
with the Miami Dolphins. And,
Yes.
and just it's just the same kind of systematic structures that are still in place. That yeah, we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. And that's why,
Yes.
as you said, why it's up to us to continue in our own right. You know what I mean? To make sure we're not only advocating, but sacrificing what we can, you know what I mean, in
Yep.
our own right in 2022, so we can not do our ancestors in vain, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yes. For
So
sure.
it yeah, no, I love that, I love that. So going into that, I kind of want to get straight into this because I always skip over it and time gets too long. I already know you a mama, right? You have a daughter. How many
Yes.
kids do you have?
Just one daughter. Me and my
Just one
daughter.
daughter? Man, how
Yes.
how is that? Talk about that. Let's just talk about, I'm a
Oh,
father too. I have my, so I love talking to parent. I just like relating. We go, it's other things. We're hobbyists and then we're also parents too. So it's just so many things that we have in
yes.
common. Yeah.
Yes. I love parenthood. It's amazing. It's just amazing being able to be around another human being that's just awesome. And she's a reflection of our ancestors. She's a reflection of the future. So for me to be able to have some type of fingerprint or input on her guidance, on her road for her greatness as she's continuing, it's just amazing. I'm honored. I never take anything for granted. And she's awesome, and she does love the hobby as well.
Yeah.
So it's something that we do together. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
And you said it's something that y'all do together.
Hmm.
Before we get into you and you in the hobby specifically, what kind of feelings and emotions do you have, like when you and her are collecting and you have that moment? You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I have that moment when I look at my kids and it's like, oh wow, that's a real human being. Oh wow, they're coming into their own. Or wow, I can't believe I'm sharing this moment with them. I might not have this moment again. You know what I mean? Like, what
Yeah.
kind of feelings and emotions do specifically as the hobby, when you're collecting or you're doing hobby things with your daughter, what kind of feelings and emotions do you have?
Um, it's a sense of happiness
Yeah.
wrapped all into one. um it's amazing. I'm not much into trading, but she enjoys trading. She doesn't trade often, but when she does make a trade or even attempt to make a trade, it brings her so much happiness. And she loves it. She absolutely loves it. It's great. It's great.
That's dope. That's dope. I had heard when Sam had asked you, have you met yet? You know what I'm saying? To your knowledge, if you can remember another mother daughter combo in the hobby, like you said, they're pretty sure they exist. You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
but
people
and I'm pretty sure
around.
you've met them,
Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying? It just didn't come to your mind. But I just think that's so dope. That's just so
yeah,
cool to me. Because y'all are out
yeah.
there, and you know what I mean.
Yes.
And I
It's
just think
it's
that's
pl- it's
raw. And then,
it's
yeah,
plenty of us. I haven't really ran into, like, my daughter's 6, so I haven't really ran into like the dynamic of a young girl and
your
a
daughter's
mom. Like,
6,
yeah, she's 6. Yeah, most of the
so
time I
she's
do run into.
real young.
She's real young. It's not you. Most of the time
Wow.
I run into young girls. They'll be like teenagers, with their mom or something
Right.
like that.
Right.
I don't really see them young like that's actually in it. Like, me and my daughter, we set up at a
Ooh.
local card show in Jersey, and like that's our thing. Like, our goal is to go have fun, and just have fun, honestly. And after every show, we go to Chick-fil-A and we just like kick back in the car and then drive home because it's over an hour away from where we live at. But that's just something that we do just to have fun and kicking it. It's a good environment too. That's why we keep going. It's a great show, great environment.
Perfect. Perfect. Shout out to your daughter. For real, for real. That's 6 years
Yes,
old. Shout out to the young
6.
queen. Man, shout out. So that's a good segue into my next topic or part, because I'm assuming, and when I assume, I'm often wrong, right? But I'm assuming your daughter started young because you started young, if not at the same age, around the same age, or something like that. Can you tell us as much as you want about where you're from? I don't know if you're from New Jersey. You mentioned you're in New Jersey now, but where you're
Well,
from?
Philly,
What? Where you from?
Philly.
You're from Philly?
Yes, the home.
Everybody from Philly. You,
I'm
dang,
from Philly.
everybody. You, Wiz, and sports card collector. Hey, Philly, shout
Yes,
out Philly.
yes, 215.
Hey.
Yes,
Wh-
Philly,
wh-
West
wh-
Philly to be exact. But we just drive to Jersey for the show because
yeah,
that's the show
okay.
that we like to set up at. But yeah, I'm in
Philly,
West Philly. Yep.
West. Man, for real. Okay, I see the Jersey Philly connection
Yes.
happen. I see y'all representing. Okay, okay. So Philly, what was it like for you, Philly? Well, you know what I'm saying. Just as a child, I know you could talk about when you started collecting cards specifically, but also before that, like what kind of hobbies and things did Erica do and like as a young girl growing up in West Philadelphia, born and raised. You
Of,
know?
of, of, of course, I watched a lot of Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Okay.
But of course, like we all probably have. But
Yeah.
Philly, is an awesome place. We don't play. We are people who don't play. We go hard. We work hard. We're passionate people. A sports town. Very supportive. So I grew up in the AI era. And being in Philly, which was epic. Um, and I grew up around sports, playing sports, basketball, different things like that. I have nothing but love for Philly, the city of brotherly and sisterly love, you know.
Yeah.
And I, for me, like I said, I go to Jersey a lot, go to New York or DC. We right in that tri-state area, so we connected to all these major cities. So
Right.
it's awesome to be able to go to Baltimore at a drop of a dime and stuff like that. So it's just like people from Philly, we experience more than Philly. We experience these other 3, 4, 5 states.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what
Yep.
was
So
experiencing? Yeah.
yep. And then so my background of getting into collecting, my aunt, she collected cards and she got me into it. So I started collecting about around the age of 8 or 9, and I collected all the way up to about 12, 13. And I stopped collecting once she passed away. So then
Okay.
that's when I kind of stopped collecting and I started like working, you know, a job after school, after basketball practice. And, I needed money. So I just kind of focused on school ball and working, like everybody else's story.
That's when life
You
hit
know,
for you though, right? That's when
yeah.
life hit.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I grew up, like she organized stuff by a team, so she was big into like Jordan or the '90s players, and so was I. I got back into the hobby. My daughter plays tennis. I gave her even I guess over the course of the years, I still kind of just got cards. Like some reason I had the Naomi Osaka rookie card. So I had the card. I said, "Hey, I'm gonna get this to my daughter Natiri." So I said, "Hey, Terry, you can have this card. You can put the card in your gym bag. So when you taking a break from hitting some balls or whatever, you can look at the card, get inspiration." So then
Yeah.
she's like, "Okay, cool." So we did it. Then I looked at the card and it was beat up though before I gave it to her. So I said, maybe I should order another card. Then I go on eBay and then I just fall into the rabbit hole of like, oh wow, like it's like so. Then I did order another card, and then I just kind of got back into it. Um, I I'm glad I got back into it. I have a background in business. I have a background. I'm very passionate about art, about travel, different
Okay.
things like that. So the sports cards just kind of just navigated itself into my heart through the lenses of an art lover. I look at sports cards as
Ah,
artwork in the palm of my hand. I look at the players with utmost respect, and I'm proud of each player that I actually collect and I like and I actually support. I'm not one of those people who would be like, "Oh, I got the wrong player." I don't do that. No,
right,
every player is a
right,
player. Every player worked
right.
hard to get to where they were. Even for the
Right.
players who didn't make it to the top, you still got to respect them. So that's kind of my philosophy with it. And yeah, so we just been rocking and rolling. Me and my daughter have been going to some shows, and we've been having a good time with it. We having a good time with it. So it's cool.
That's what's up. What is she like at the shows?
Well,
Does she can she sit there like for a whole show and focus on the car and be like on the cars, or does she need her breaks to do what she needs to do? You know what I'm saying, and disengage for a minute.
she can sit through a whole show. We actually
Mm.
took we did a 1-day trip to Tampa to the Tampa show
Uh huh.
like a few months back. We flew out early in the morning, went to the show, walked the show, and then got something to eat and flew back to Philly. Like she was good. Like she ain't asked for no breaks.
Ah.
Like, when we go to the Philly car show, same thing. Like, she like I was down my last dollar, and then she'd be like, "Mama, can I look over here real quick?" And then she'll go look over there real quick. Like actually, there's a funny story. I had one more dollar in my hand. and she was looking through some cards. And she's like, "Mom, can I get that last dollar?" I said, "Sure." And then I'm at this one booth. She's at the booth right here, so I'm in proximity, it's safe, you know, and nobody was around. Then she bought a card. She came back over and brought me this pink football card. I think it was either Jerry Rice or Montana, and she's like, "Here, I bought this for you. You know, I know you love pink cards, pink sparkly cards." You know, she dug through the
Oh,
box and found it and everything. Negotiated with the seller. Did all on her own. So she's
damn.
6 years old. Like if I give her, you know, like a couple of dollars and say, "Hey, buy some cards," and like let her do her thing, like she can navigate herself. I won't have to say a word. You know, she can navigate herself. She asks people, you know, sometimes to trade with her on certain cards if she doesn't have enough. And I've seen it, and she be rocking and rolling.
So,
You
so,
know,
so you had mentioned earlier how about that was the beautiful part about being a parent is being able to instill these, you know what I'm saying, these certain
yeah,
things in your children, right? Why was that
yeah,
important for you? She's 6. She like,
yeah.
yes, you can say it's in her genes. She was born with it. She was meant for okay, cool, but we got to give you your flowers too. This is stuff that you
Thanks.
purposely instill in her. Why is that important to you?
um we have no other choice.
Yeah.
We have with the blood that runs through our veins, we have no other choice but to strive for greatness, but to be great, but to be independent and persevere, and you know, be resilient, and all those qualities I just kind of instilled from her from birth, you know. So she will survive, you know, even at the age of 6 or 16 or 26 or whatever may be the case, you know. My hero, I
Yeah.
only have one hero. I only have one person I look up to, and that's Harriet Tubman. So that should speak volumes about my mindset and the way I move and the way my daughter moves as well. And above our bed, we have a picture of Harriet Tubman. So, you know, daily we constantly forever grateful for everything she's done and represents. And we continue in that like legacy.
It's Black History Month, and even if it wasn't, it's still Black History Month, right? So not a lot of people know. I know you've posted Harriet Tubman cards on your page before. You know what I mean?
One,
Can one so hey, not everybody knows who Harriet Tubman is, and there Tubman
true.
is, and people actually watch this show to be informed and educate. And since that's somebody you admire, it would be great to hear who she is to you and why she's on your wall and why you walk. You said your ancestors are in you. You said they all in you, and you just mentioned
Yes.
one of them for sure. Why is she important?
She's important because resilience, like the word resilience in the dictionary, her picture's right next to it. The word brave right next to it. The word fighter, the word leader. You know, she's all of the above. Like she's a strong woman who was fearless, and she saw more than what she could actually see. You know, and she went after it, and then she had the courage and the strength and the will and the want and the selflessness to go back to get others. You know, like and continuing that cycle and cycle. It was never about her. It was about the us. It was about freeing our minds. You know, she knew she couldn't save everyone. You know, because some people will forever be entrapped in their own minds. You know, so the ones who was willing, the ones who rolled. You know, and I look at myself as somebody who's willing to learn, and to be better and to try to get better and just try to help our world, our globe, you know. That's the way I just roll, you know.
Yeah. And Harriet Tubman's important. She's huge. I learned, and this is what I learned from via the hobby. This is what the hobby taught me when I was doing research on the hobby and specifically hockey, right? And this is why I
Hmm.
say it's so cool to learn about everybody, and we can all learn from everybody and empower everybody. And um, so Harriet Tubman, we all know, like you said, she was powerful, strong, brave, but the most important thing, I feel like she was a leader. Like you said, she went back
Yeah.
and not only did she get people, she modeled what it was to do what she was doing. So not only like, look, she wasn't in forcing anybody to do it, but just her grace and her presence, people are looking up like, I can do that too. Right. And I
Yep.
think one powerful story is that it just wasn't Black people. They have
Mm-mm.
several white people who heard about these underground railroads, and they made it so these underground railroads led to their basement to where we would be safe, and then we can go head to Canada or head to other places. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
This isn't I didn't mean that as in a savior story. I meant that as an advocate and a human empathy
Yes.
story. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like we all have empathy and we can all see where we can help people as people. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
and Harriet Tubman did that. There were people helping others because of what Harriet Tubman did, and they never knew who she was. And to this day,
Yes.
we're raising our kids, you know what I mean, to be like these ancestors, and we never met them before, but we know they're inside of us. You know what I mean?
We can feel them. We can feel it.
Yeah.
They vibrating throughout us, through our every word, our every breath, our every movement. They're just guiding us, trying to just to continue our legacy so we can be better, and so our kids and our youth can be better for the future. You know,
Yep, yep. I can feel that energy all the time. All the time. It's
always,
kind of like
all the
it's
time.
a lot of times it's a mirror holding up to my own face, like just trying to hold myself accountable. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And we're allowed to
Yes.
make mistakes. We're human. You know what I mean? We're
Yeah. Of
allowed to make
course.
mistakes. Everybody makes
We do.
mistakes, and we get off trail sometimes. But that mirror
Yes.
helps us get back on track, and
Get
our
back on track.
ancestors on our shoulders leading us the right way. It
Yeah.
might not be the easy way. It was never the
Yeah.
easy way for him, but it's the right way. So yeah, shout out Harriet Tubman, for real, for real.
Always.
Always. Another woman I want to shout out, because I heard you mention her, which is super cool too, for a lot of different reasons. But I know you're a WNBA fan, of course, and your
Yes.
team to start was also my brother Marcus Slabby Sosa, our brother. His favorite team was the Houston Comets growing up. And Marky, so I'm 38, my brother's 32, 33, or somewhere around
Yeah.
there. And so we used to play Nerf hoop in the house, Nerf basketball, and he was the type of kid that had he was a Houston Rockets fan too. So he put his Akeem Olajuwon jersey on. Sometimes he put a Kobe Bryant jersey on, and he'd play Nerf hoop by himself and put the clock on the microwave with 2 minutes, and he'd have a game. And he would also do the same thing with WNBA. Like
Yeah.
he would be Cooper, he would be Tina Thompson. He was a die-hard Houston Comet fan. And
Love
then we
it.
wrote a song a year ago, Who Do You Collect? And I gave all three of them a shout out. And I've given them shout outs on several songs just about just being the GOAT, not the
Yes.
female GOAT, just the GOAT, period. You know what I
Period.
mean? Just to put that out there, that energy and that balance out there. You know what I mean? And also that shirt you have on, Muhammad Ali. I threw a Tatiana Ali bar in there too. A Layla Ali
Yes.
bar in there too. Excuse me, a Layla Ali bar. I got ahead of myself with Fresh Prince and Tatiana Ali, and I was gonna get into Sister and some more stuff, but that's later. But yeah, but yeah. So talk about the Houston Comets, and I want to know, from your perspective, because I saw what it did to my brother. But for
Mhm.
you, what I'm saying, 25 years ago, when you were a young lady and you saw
Yeah.
that there was a WNBA, and why did you fall in love with the Houston Comets, and what were your feelings and emotions? That's what I love, getting into those.
Feelings and emotions. Feelings, excitement,
Yeah.
happiness. I watched the game. I never went to a live game of the Houston Comets, but I used to watch it on TV all the time. A lot of the games were on TV all the time. They were great. They were just a dynamic team. Like one of the best teams in sports history, period. Like when you talk about the Bulls, you talk about the Yankees, you got to be talking in the Lakers and Celtics, you got to be talking about the Houston Comets. For people who don't, they're just ignorant and they don't know no better, but they need to educate themselves on, the Houston Comets and all the things they accomplished, So it was dope. And, four straight, that, like, come on. It doesn't get no better than that. And I don't think that'll ever be done again.
Yeah, and I think a part of that is, like I said, and I like to put the responsibility back on myself. You know what I mean? And just what I can do is not telling the history enough, because I think for a lot of people, the history of women basketball starts with the WNBA. And I'm like, hold on, I was going to games in Oakland at the Coliseum to watch the Olympic team, so I
Yeah,
knew about basketball before the
yeah.
WNBA.
It
I
was
think
it
we
was
talked about it.
four.
Teresa Edwards was oh my gosh, I saw her, Teresa Edwards, and Witherspoon at halftime. They did like a dribbling show. They were each dribbling. Those were the first two people I saw dribble two basketballs, three basketballs, and four basketballs at a time. Like they kept
Yeah,
it going, and then they going through the legs. And then 12 years later, I saw Lamar Odom, 6'10", do it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And then I wanted to do it in high school. But those women, like, like have been playing basketball just as long as men have been playing basketball. If you go to
Yes.
the Black Fives, my guy Claude Johnson, if you go to the Black Fives, he started a nonprofit organization that helps keep this history alive, men and women's, of the original, you know what I'm saying, basketball players. And they highlight a lot of the black basketball players, women basketball players back in the day. I'm talking 40s, 50s, and
Yes.
even
Exactly.
before that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So yeah.
We
Well,
gotta
for
pay homage
you,
to 'em.
where does it
Yep.
start? Yeah, where does the history start for you as far as women's basketball?
Like you said, like I've seen pictures, I've read like little inserts about
Yeah,
1940s, 30s, but I don't know like the actual players or teams. I didn't
right,
really like
right,
dig deep and dive as much as I, should, and that's something I will do. But
right.
I like I said, like you said, women have been playing just as long as the men. So that's where it starts. And it's probably for me, probably I personally think basketball was created long before it was created in our history books. But that's just my theory on it. But
No, it's a
anyway, but
fact. It's a fact.
yeah, like
No, it's a
yeah,
fact. They have different games. All these games that were played in Africa and in other lands too. Different
exactly.
variations of these games. You know what I mean? But like you said, long before it was introduced to
Long
us.
before,
But
so
yeah, yeah, yeah. I just saw a picture of it. I forgot the name of the game, but I forgot the time frame, and so
mhm,
I'm not even going to try and guess. But you're absolutely right. But also, I
yeah,
learned too. Shout out Naismith. You know what I mean? We'll give him his credit for, what I'm saying, the invention of the basketball as we know it here in the States. You know what I'm saying, in
mhm,
America and abroad or whatnot. But shout out to him, because through the Black Fives history as well too. You know what I mean? I learned that he was an advocate. You know what I'm saying, and he was actually someone who was instrumental in the start of blacks playing basketball, because he
oh
coached
wow,
a lot of the first original coaches, or a few of them. I'm not going to say a lot, you know what I mean? But he was someone who was definitely in our corner back then, which wasn't, what I'm saying, you didn't hear about those stories a lot. You always heard about the opposite. So shout out Naismith for those stories that I've heard about him. I want to make sure we shine those
yes,
lights too. Yeah.
shout out, yes, give him his flowers as well.
Yeah, for sure.
That was great. I'm glad you mentioned it. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. I forgot the gentleman's name, but I just know that some of the first basketball teams that were organized in the East Coast, they were like in Philly and New York back then. They were
Mhm.
like from Philly and then East. Um, they started in schools, like PE teachers started teams, and they started in leagues, and they became professional teams. It's like before the NBA type thing, you know what I mean? And they
Yeah,
had their own black basketball leagues. These coaches actually either played or coached with Naismith. You know what I
wow.
mean? So yeah. Yeah. So I thought that was dope. I'm gonna make sure, like you, I don't know everything. I know bits and pieces, and I'm working on my
Yeah,
history and getting it together. But that's okay, because I know what I don't know, and I'm gonna try and not know
yes,
more so I can know more.
exactly. I'm with you on that 100%.
Yeah. So
Yes.
another thing I wanted to ask you about. Oh, so hold on the WNBA. Did you see that? I forgot what it was, but I think they just increased they just got $75 million or something like that.
Yes, I seen it briefly. It was basically they got investment into the league to help with like
Yes,
marketing, advertisement, you know, the structure of the league to help it grow. So that's major, that's epic. And I love to see it, and I love to see the league continues to grow.
it's about darn time.
Yes.
It's about
Yeah.
darn time. Like like I said, it's crazy. It's 2022, and here we go talking about having to
Yeah.
celebrate. We're gonna celebrate everything, but and it's still not equality. It's still not justice, but it's a step in the right direction. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But still having that women, not for me, you know what I mean, but women a lot of places are still looked at as below
Mhm.
men, you know what I mean, or not saying below, it's what they do isn't valued as much, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So I love seeing that, because like I said, it's a step in the right direction for sure.
Yep. I agree.
That was one of the biggest reasons why about a year ago I intentionally started wanting to focus a lot more on women in sports myself. Not nothing to collect and blast out there. Like I have some stuff I share, but really for myself, Erica, I was sitting here. I'm an educator. I've been working with children and families for the last 20 years now, right?
Mhm.
And I'm an educator and I'm sitting here. I collect toys and I collect cards, and 95% of my cards and toys are males. And I have a daughter. I have 3 sons and I have a daughter. And I respect
Mhm.
my mother, my grandmother, my auntie, my sister. Like I have respect for women. I call everybody ma'am, even if you're 2 months old, you know what I mean, to 200 years old. It doesn't matter. You're ma'am, you're open, like all that. But at the same time, I was calling myself a heavy collector and a historian. And then my daughter would walk in and I look around, and then I'd be teaching classes and I'd have to reach to find something that represents the girls. Like if my daughter just walked in here, she wouldn't be able to tell that I cared about any kind of women collectors or women's sports at
Mhm.
all, because all she would, or women toys or women action figures,
Yeah.
she would just see, you know what I mean? And I just thought that was a bad representation for myself. So I
Mhm.
literally started saying, nope, let me dive into this and
Yep.
educate myself. And then I just started learning so much about our history,
That's
and
dope.
about first, like there's so many, it, it's this misconception that like it's always the man that was the first to do stuff. Man, there were a lot of black women that were the first to really do stuff. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Like for real, for real. So yeah, I just we
Yeah.
just had to give the ladies their flowers there on that. Um, our Spreetail, who has that hit, several hits, but Spreetail's on our album. Spreetail played D1 college women's basketball at Cal Berkeley. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's up.
Yeah. That's dope. Yeah. So you know what I'm saying? We like to represent full. That's that's
Yeah.
that's my brother. That's my brother though, from another for real, for real.
Yeah.
Spreetail, I met I knew I'm older than Trail. Trail is about my brother age, about Slabby age. But I I,
Mhm.
I knew of Trail growing up because Trail was a awesome basketball player in high school. Like you'd always
Uh,
see her name in the paper, dropping 30
yes.
points, 20 points, you know, doing all that stuff. And then she had got a scholarship to Cal. And I actually met Trail many years later when I started working for this nonprofit organization called Playworks. And what was
Okay.
dope about Playworks was that Playworks was a nonprofit organization, and they put coaches or trained staff inside of schools, and we would use recess to transform the culture in the school. You know what I mean? And just make it more inclusive environment. If kids are safe and having fun on the playground, they'll feel more
Mhm.
safe in the classroom. You know what I mean? It was a brilliant organization. I learned a lot of things from them that I still hold today, and I probably wouldn't be in
Yeah.
the position I am today if I didn't work for them and learn from them. But I actually, that's where I met Trail, like personally, and I was working under Trail for a
Okay.
while. Trail taught me almost everything I know, as well as other people, because I was working with children and families long before I was working with Playworks. But just in that realm and in that essence, Trail was my guide. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be in the position I am now if not for Trail. I was at the bottom of the totem pole doing an excellent job, but comfortable. And Trail
Mhm.
forced me out my comfort zone to reach for greatness. And now I'm working on my own as an independent contractor. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So, but still in the same, giving the same things to these communities and to these schools. You know what I mean? So that
That's
that that's
up.
that's you. It's just amazing. I got a wonderful woman in my corner who just walked in to
Yes.
grab some water. She always be trying to walk in hella quietly,
Yes.
but I. I wouldn't be able to do any of this right now if it wasn't for her. She just walked in and smiled. You know what I mean? None of this would be possible if not for her. So I just always
Yes.
like to make sure. What look at my shirt I wore today. Coincidentally, is a Conquer Queen. This is her hoodie too. You know what I mean? This is
That's
one of
dope.
the one of the brands she supports on Instagram. She found the page, and it's just one of the brands she chose to support.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. A cool. And I heard you say this on Woman of the Hobby too, and I got excited. And I knew y'all wasn't gonna stay on it for too long. You know what I mean? Because I don't think Sam. I don't know if that was in Sam's generation and air. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? But
Here.
sister was all me. So we gonna dive into that and talk about why, and me feelings and emotions, and then we gonna talk about
Yes.
some other shows, and we gonna talk a little bit about power too. You know what I'm saying? Because this is about the hobby, but this is a relatable show. I
Yes.
want my people to know that watch the shows that we watch that don't collect cards. Like, oh, people that watch those shows collect cards. Like, yeah, bruh.
Yeah.
Like it's bruh, like it's yeah. Come on, it's cool. Like you good.
I'm gonna start the conversation off. Is that
Okay.
okay?
Yeah, please
All
do.
right. For the show Power, we can use any of them. Power Book 2, Raising Kanan, original Power.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose one character to have on a card. Who would that card be? It could be the one-on-one card. Who do you want?
Oh, that's tough. That's tough. That's tough because you
Who do
can't
you
make
want
a.
on the card? And you're gonna throw that card in a one touch and you're gonna display it somewhere on your mantle or your desk. You're gonna see that card every day because that's gonna be your favorite card.
I could pick anybody.
Anybody.
If I can pick anybody. Because see, it's
Yes.
tough to pick one person because they all have the same flaws. It's power. They all have the same flaws, and you don't want to
Yes.
give somebody a card and then and then it come back and then somebody watch this and be like, "Oh, you gave Ghost a card and he's the most evilest one." Like, nah, that's not like that. So I ain't gonna lie. If I had to give somebody a card, just because you put me, that's a great question because you put me on the spot. I'm
Mm-hmm.
either gonna give Raina,
Ooh.
yup, or Sean. Raina or Sean a card.
Ooh. Those are two awesome choices. I didn't think he was gonna choose them. I thought he was
I
gonna pick
wasn't at
Ghost.
first.
I thought he was gonna
Nope.
pick Ghost.
I was gonna pick Kanan. I was gonna go with Kanan, but then I said because I was gonna go with Kanan because I feel like we didn't get enough of his story, but neither did we
Yes.
didn't get enough of Raina and Sean's life. You feel me? Like I feel like
Yes.
Raina, like I be looking at power like it's real life, so I be mad. I
I
be getting
love
teary eyed
Power.
and stuff.
I love Power. But those two are great because my two would be Tasha or Rock. But I would lean a
Oh,
little bit slightly more towards Tasha. She's gonna get my that's my choice for the card. Tasha,
why Tasha?
Tasha Green. It's going to say Tasha Green on there.
Tasha Green. You see, because I think that's dope. Because that's a question I was gonna ask you too, though. And this is
What?
raw. Is a little different. I had a power question for you though. So, but
Okay.
but but now I got two now because you just brought up Tasha and I brought up Raina, and that wasn't the people I had. So you watch Power. I watch Power. My family watched Power. We knew watching Power season 1 and 2 that Ghost Son was gonna end up being like Ghost or worse, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But Raina didn't have the chance to grow up and develop into a Tasha, right? She
Yeah.
wasn't given the chance, right? Now, do you think Diana will be a Monet?
No. No.
No, you think she's gonna be
No.
the
Because
opposite?
because I think just as much as Tyreek is an image of Ghost, he's also I think he's more of Tasha. I think he's
Mm.
more Tasha. So I can say the same thing
Huh.
about Monet's boys. I
I
think that
never
they are
thought
more
about it.
her.
You
You
right.
know,
You're
it's not
right.
necessarily the woman, the female dynamic to female. It can
You
cross over. It can cross over. So I really like Reek. Like the only person he truly cared about is his siblings and Tasha. That's it. That's it. That's it. And
you
he
right.
and he's sharp like her. She's sharp. She's sharper than Ghost. She was sharper than
Way
Ghost,
sharper. You
and
right.
he's
You
sharp like that.
right.
He's sharp. Come on, like. And she actually cared about people. Ghost ain't care about nobody. He ain't care about nobody. Nobody.
You
Reek, he
right. And
actually
Tasha
cared about people.
Yep, and Tasha just cared about her kids. Like she did
Yeah.
her power. Everybody has to do power shady stuff to be on the show. So
Yes.
you can't you know what I'm saying? You can't just throw them off the way because they did something.
Yes.
Like you said, Reek was in it for his siblings and his mama, and Tasha, you
Yes.
ain't gonna touch her kids, and rightfully so. Like me,
Exactly.
I'm a teddy bear. I'm a like me. I let everything slide. Like you can call me
Mhm.
all the names in the book. You can do whatever. But if you try and go for my money that feeds my kids, or you try and touch my kids, oh, I can't.
Yes.
I don't know what I don't want to do. You know, that's a totally different
It,
story.
and as much as the men in the show want to take credit for being strong or being it's really the women. The women in each show is the anchor. And everybody feeds off of them. Every single
Yeah,
character feeds off of that the woman lead
yeah. The
on
women lead.
everyone
Yep.
from Rock, Monet, Tasha, everybody.
Rock
Tommy,
was
when
dope.
Tommy's in trouble, who was he going to? Who did he really want to go to for the real information? He went to Tasha.
Tasha. He went to
Thank
Tasha.
you. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
And
saying.
yeah.
That's what
Nah,
I'm
that's
saying.
and that's big, man. That show is just, you can tell it's intentionally put in there. Like 50 Cent
Yes.
has a whole bunch of women, you know what I mean, on that cast who are able to put more into it. Like he allows them to create, and it's just
Yes.
brilliant the way they write and put that show together. I'm
It's
biased too.
awesome.
Like I let people know, like I'm biased. So I'm never gonna say it's like a Young and the Restless to me. Like my granny, we used to sit there and watch. My granny used to watch Young and the Restless and all them soap operas. That's my soap opera. Like we talked
you
about
you
that.
know, I don't look at it as a soap opera. I look at it as more of like back in the day, my favorite movie growing up was like Set It Off, or then like a classic movie you watch would be like
Ooh,
Scarface. I look at
ooh.
Power, the Power universe is like watching a classic. Like, the soap opera is kind of corny, cheesy, predictable, but Power isn't. And
It's
Power
not
is like
predictable. Yeah,
Power is a little bit more realistic towards certain people. If you can relate, like a lot of the characters, it's like relatable. Like, having to be tough, or having to make moves, or you know do whatever. Like, it can be relatable, certain portions of it, to different people. So that's why
yeah.
I look, I view it like a classic Scarface. That's what it
That's
is.
facts. No, I feel you
Yeah.
there. I feel you there. That's right.
Yep.
I'm happy. I'm happy you said Set It Off too, because
Yep. My
I
favorite
had
movie.
yep. Oh, that's, oh my god, I love that movie. I love, and I didn't have that written down, but I said Sister Sister, and then when I wrote Sister Sister down, no, I had other shows like Moesha, and then I wrote down Martin and Living Color, but then I remembered right after in Living Color was Living Single. So when you said Set It Off, I was like, oh, Living Single, that used to go crazy back in the day.
Yes, living. I grew up on Living Single. I still watch it to this day. It's one of my favorite shows. Living Single, Girlfriends, and Martin.
Living
But also a newer
single.
show. Lovecraft is one of my favorite shows too. It
Lovecraft. Let me
probably
write that down because I don't watch
love
all I'm.
HBO. HBO Max. You got to check it out.
What's it called?
Lovecraft. Lovecraft.
Love, love. Because I'm
Yep.
telling you, I don't
Lovecraft. Yep.
watch
Love.
TV at all. Power is the
Oh,
only thing I watch. That's it. So,
I.
and usually
I
when people say stuff, I'm like, nah, I'm cool. All right, I'm gonna give this a shot though.
listen. I bet lunch. After you watch the first 1 or 2 episodes, you gonna hit me up immediately. You gonna be like, yo, you gonna be like, why you ain't tell me about this sooner? I guarantee. I Charles Barkley guarantee that you gonna hit me up immediately. You gonna be
All
like,
right.
oh my god. And then you gonna be like, I'm hit you back after I finish watching the rest of all of these. I'm
So,
telling you.
Lovecraft, right?
Yep, Lovecraft.
Okay. Bet.
Lovecraft,
Bet. See,
in County. Yep.
See, I
Yep. It's
want
on
people to
HBO.
see
Yep.
that. Man, see, I don't think people understand. See, they can call it a reach, but I be really trying to tie it in. We named a whole bunch of shows. Every show I named, you got excited. I got excited. We started feeling good. You named a new show. We talked about Power. That seeing us on screen, making us laugh and feel good, and also Fresh Prince cry and go through those emotions and identify, right? Those representations
Mhm.
of us help us. I feel that's important in the hobby. And that I feel
Mhm.
like, you know what I mean? That's why I feel like we're gonna do everything collectively as we can to make sure
Yes.
we're portrayed in those same lights and that we have
Yes.
those same outlets and representation as far as the hobby is. You know what I mean? I want kids to look up and see Erica and see Pack and Sports Car Collector and Wiz and Prism God and everybody and be like, oh wow, okay, I want to be. It's cool. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. If you
Yeah.
like it, it's
It
cool. Just because we like it, don't make it cool. If you like it, it's
is.
cool. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. It's gonna be the hobby version of a different world. Yep.
Hey,
Yep.
that would go crazy.
Crazy. Crazy. Crazy. You like you said, the representation, like that's what you would sit your kids down in front of the TV to watch. Like that show to the T. You know? They hit on great topics, but what are the everybody in there is working hard towards a goal. They trying to better themselves for the future. You know, come on, it don't get no better
Cool.
than that.
It
That's the
don't get
same
no
thing, like
better
you
than
said,
that.
what we doing with the hobby. Like, within the hobby, like we do it for pure love. We do it for much more than the average person in the hobby does it for. And like you said, especially the youth, they need to see that. I'm a big advocate on youth truly collecting. whatever they want to collect because they want to collect it, not because it has a
Yeah.
dollar amount, not because somebody else likes the way it looks. I don't that frustrates me when people just in it for those reasons. But I do believe though, because just my perception is that it really depends on what they're exposed to in terms of like who they're following on YouTube or Instagram or around them.
Mhm.
Because I
Mhm.
remember doing some car shows, and some younger kids, younger young boys come up to the table, and they were super nice and polite, and they would talk about cards that most people wouldn't look at, and they'd be like, "Man, this is such a cool looking card. Like, I like the way it looks." Like, and I tell them like, keep that same focus. You go after what you like, you know what I mean? Like, because it's pretty much artwork, and you go after players you want to go after. Don't be persuaded into, what you're hearing or what you're seeing, in terms of the collectability of it. Now, if you want to do investment, that's different. But if you want to be a
Right.
collector, as which I think you should be, because look at the artwork behind me. I'm a collector at heart. Even like
Yeah.
things like what you're wearing, your hoodie, my hoodie. This is we're collecting it. It's a
Collecting it.
wearable
Yeah.
collectible. You know what I mean? Your hat, everything, like, because that's the way we view it. But most people don't view it that way. You know, and we view these items with respect. And I'm just a big advocate for it, especially for the youth, because at the end of the day, they say they want the hobby to grow. They say that, but they don't mean it, because if they mean it, they will put more direction, more focus on the youth. Then they don't. They don't, because the youth are about 20 years from now. We might not be worrying about cars, but so much we might be worrying about whatever, retirement, different things like that. Like, the youth is what's going to actually carry on the hobby in terms of the avenue it's going down, and the trajectory that is going down now, which is a good one to a certain degree. you know
Yep. Yep.
I just
You
get a little
definitely.
deep with it. I get a little deep with it because I get very deep with it, honestly, because as much as I love the hobby, it's a lot of things that bother me about it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Go
I
there. No, I
the,
feel
the,
you.
the
I
biggest
fully
one
feel
of the
you.
biggest ones is the disrespect of players, the disrespect of athletes, that people and some people in the hobby just like to say whatever out their mouth. They would like to post with whatever, even though they might think it's jokes and laughs. But I don't find that stuff funny. Like,
It's
you
yeah.
know,
It's not
I don't
funny.
I don't find it funny. Do you like majority of the athletes working their entire lives to try to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish? They're sacrificing like much more than the average person sacrifices, and the least you can do is, you don't have to like the player, but just don't disrespect them. That's my thing.
You're
Like,
gonna you're
don't
gonna
go out your way to
disrespect.
be
Yeah.
disrespectful.
Or
Don't
or
don't don't don't
yeah.
do
You
that.
see.
Don't
You see. Yeah. I feel you, Eric. I'm mad too. You feel me? But see,
don't do that.
I'm mad, but see, this is where I get mad. I get upset, frustrated. I just don't want to say mad. I don't want people to think I'm just aggressive and I'm want to fight. No, I get upset. I get sad. I get a whole lot of emotions. Right. Not only when I see them talking mess, but then 5 minutes later, they talk mess about this player. But then 5 minutes later, they want to pump this player for their benefit to make money off this
Exactly.
player or for likes. They want to appropriate this player. So you want
Exactly.
to, or the
Entitled.
next player who been through the same exact thing as they have. They don't you that really, that's a trigger. That's a
That's a
trigger for me.
trigger. It's a
That's a
trigger.
trigger.
Zion. Most people probably became aware of Zion when he was at Duke. Everybody talk of the town. Oh, Zion. He gets to the Pelicans. They all on him. As soon as he might not be on the track that he wants to be on, he just offered just a little bit. Everybody want to talk junk about him. Like, first of all,
As soon
how
as
you
life hit
you
for
should be
him.
going after somebody personally, number one, and
Yeah.
number two, like, for you to go after this person about their lack of skill or lack of this, that, and the third. Who are you to judge them? Who are you to judge them? Just because you made that you made a bad investment. I just I just don't like it. I just don't like the fact that people, the sense of a card, which is tied to the person, is viewed as an investment, and and then it's a lot of times disrespected when it's not doing well. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't like that value. Like the disrespect for that. I don't like that. But
I don't
I
like it either.
guarantee when Zion will be back. Trust me, he will be
Yeah.
back, and
You
he
know
will
what?
be soaring. I guarantee it. And they're
So
going to be
that
back on him, and I'm gonna be looking at all these people and say, okay, you were just talking junk about him.
Yep.
You just you just talking junk about him. Instead of
I
talking junk about him, just say, you know what? He might not be performing in the way I think he's performing. Yeah, I bought 10 cards in his. I am down, but hey, I'm gonna see how this folds out. Or, just talk with a different tone, or you don't have to be disrespectful how you go about talking about players. That's the issue
Thank
that I
you.
had.
It's how
That's
you're
the issue I
saying it.
had.
It's
You can
how.
have
It's
your
not
own opinion.
necessarily what sometimes, it's how you say it. But for me,
Yep.
I look at it as the hobby. Like if this is our arena and the hobby is the gym or the floor and where they're playing, right? These people
Yep.
who talk about the athletes are the same people in these arenas who are throwing ice on players, calling these players different words and names. That's how I view them when I'm going through the story or pages and I see people just freely talking about people who they wouldn't like you. Okay, like oh, and then
Yeah.
it's also a trigger because Erica, here we are as adults, right? And we know
Yeah.
we're adults and we tell our kids and we tell kids, hey, don't gossip, don't talk about people, don't do this, don't do
Mhm.
this. But the first thing adults do when they get a Facebook or an Instagram is talk about the next person. They want to talk about a celebrity or they want to, I can care less what negative things a celebrity is doing. What
Exactly.
don't mean nothing.
Yep.
And I'm happy you said that. I was in a Clubhouse room. It's part of the reason why I left Clubhouse many, many moons ago, um,
Okay.
because of the racial inequity and just this things that were just in there was just slot. But yeah, they had this narrative on there about just calling players bust, and it was specifically, I ain't gonna lie, just the
Uh,
black players.
I hate that.
Yeah, and I'm
Hate
not a believer. Like I get it. Like I get it. Maybe Pac-Man's too sensitive for certain things. Nah, I'm just not gonna have
Nah.
you
Oh.
speak on something that you don't live or that you don't understand. That's all it is. You speak
Mm-hmm.
on your life, but you're not gonna speak on this man's life, which you consider a bust. But you
Yes.
putting money in another man who, if he breaks his leg, you love him today, but if he break his leg, you gonna call him a bust. You fake and phony. That's my point.
Exactly.
And that's the reason why the hobby is able to get away with this stuff. But you know what I mean? Because there's no structure, there's no rules, and there's no morals,
Yeah.
and no
Right.
ethics involved.
You're right. You're right. It's no rules, no morals. And you are right. You spot on with that. You spot on with that. I'm hoping things will change, but
They
the
will.
change will come with some individuals, or you know that's how the change is going to have to come.
Yep. The change will come, and I don't expect anybody. A lot of times, people, because they don't take the people who don't take time to understand why we do what we do and say what we say, think that we're upset and we're mad and we expect somebody to do something for us. No,
Mm.
we're stating our experiences and things that we see, right? And things we believe to be true. All right. We're open to learn about these things, but man, Erica, we live this our whole lives outside of the hobby. So there's
Yeah.
certain things we can recognize from a mile away. In the hobby, it happens 10 times later. That's what people don't understand. Like the
Yeah.
hobby
It does later.
is yeah, like y'all, they're so far behind on a lot of these
A
things.
lot of
And I'm hoping the biggest thing that I hope people are talking about fanatics, right? The biggest
okay.
thing about fanatics that I love and I hope, and I'm gonna try and persuade you too, right? And I'm not gonna lie, the fanatics taking over the hobby, or you know what I'm saying, being this what may seem to be a monopoly, which the hobby has always been a monopoly, even
Hmm.
since the tobacco days when they
Yes.
had us picking cotton and tobacco and putting us on cards. It was a monopoly, and then they broke
Yes.
it down in 1911, but it was still a monopoly. Check the
Yes.
Tobacco Act. This is all facts. I didn't, don't get mad at me. I'm just speaking what I
Hmm.
read. Yes, we do that, right? So,
Yes.
but
Facts.
fanatics, right? This is what I feel. I feel because of the human being that Michael Rubin is. I'm putting this on. I'm putting this on him because Michael Rubin wasn't always. He was always the same human being, but
Hmm.
once he understood one thing that was going on in our culture, he used his
Yes.
privilege.
Hmm.
I'm talking about specifically prison reform, right? He used his
Yes.
privilege, and
Yes.
he's still using his privilege. For me, that shows that he can see a disadvantage, he can see injustice, he can see inequality, he can listen, he can learn. I don't make
Yes.
it his responsibility, right? I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's his responsibility. It's still our responsibility. But I feel like
Yes.
somebody who walks with that outside of the hobby
Yes.
is going to sprinkle at least a little bit of that, or notice something, or at least be keen to hearing
I agree.
different things that may come up that haven't ever been in the hobby before. You know what I mean? I'm confident that's, and it's a reach, you know what I mean? Cuz he's a businessman. He can be looking at
Yeah.
this just for the money. But I feel like just his presence, it empowers me and it makes me want to go harder. You know what I mean? Cuz oh, look what that man does. Look, he uses we all have privileges. I got a book right here. It says black privilege. It don't work the same way it worked for white people. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? White people have their own privilege that work for them. Some
Hmm.
black people don't believe in black privilege. I understand the concept of
That's
black
true.
privilege. There are certain things that
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying, that I have an advantage for being black that works for me, sometimes
Yeah.
mostly in black communities. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
also in all communities. Because I feel like with almost 99.9999% of black people, you can drop us anywhere in the world and we're going to survive. I feel like
Yeah.
we have this chameleon ability to show empathy and to understand almost any and everybody. You know what I mean? Um, even though we do show hate, we're human. You know what I'm saying? We hate
Mhm.
too. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying we're free from
Yeah.
hate, but I just like Michael Rubin, how he used his privilege um to make a stance, not just on one human being, a rapper, Meek Mill, but really on the whole nation. You know what I mean? Prison reform as a whole. And there's a host of other people on that committee, powerful people on that committee who use their white privilege and black privileges that they've earned and worked hard for in their own right to give back. So that's what I want to do, Erica. I feel like we have a privilege in the hobby. We aren't.
Yeah.
It wasn't given to us. We
Yeah.
started off with 300 followers in June of
Hmm.
2020.
Hmm.
300. And we didn't do it for the followers or anything. We weren't
Yeah.
doing it for this. We didn't know we were doing it for this. It became this. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And like you said, the ancestors came on us and it was like, okay,
Yes.
this is bigger than just collecting, y'all. Y'all can
I
really
agree.
inspire and motivate and represent and make history. And then other people are going to come along and do it bigger and better like our ancestors want them to do.
I agree. You speaking facts. I totally agree with you. It's gonna be very interesting to see the direction, that Michael Rubin takes. I know he's probably not the decision maker or whatever, but it's gonna be very interesting to see how he navigates the card world moving forward. I hope that there's some diversity on the decision making boards, in terms of not necessarily color, but like my age, mindset, demographics. Like, don't just get people from just the U.S. Get people from Europe, Africa, um,
Yeah.
Brazil, Canada. Like everywhere, different sports resonates. Like everywhere, there's something exploding, or but I just it's gonna be very interesting. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, because I at some reason in my head I feel like it's gonna be like a stock X effect. But you know,
Yeah. You know
like
what? But
we grew up. I mean, cut you off. We grew up in
uh-huh,
the era of,
uh-huh.
we get out of school. All right, before we go hoop, let's go to Foot Locker real quick, or let's go to City Blue or whatever, the sneaker store. You go touch
Yeah.
the Jordans. You could touch these stuff. You could try them on. Sometimes I bought stuff on clearance. Like I remember Jordan sitting on in the middle of Foot Locker on clearance thing. Nobody was checking for them. But now they on StockX. Everybody all paying 20x to the retail, this and the third.
Yeah.
It's just to buy them, just to wear, and not even just like to actually do what they were meant to do. You know what I mean? Like, but that's how I think that's going to kind of go into play. But that's a whole industry issue, from the manufacturers to the marketing. um but they create that supply and demand. they
Mm-hmm.
they, they create that hype. Something like sneakers is meant to be worn. I do have sneakers that are not worn, that I view as artwork, because they're just art to me, and I don't wear them.
Yeah.
I play them. But I view cards the same way. Like, these cards shouldn't be replication of the stock market. It shouldn't be the cards. You shouldn't be, you look at these cards like you look at Robinhood. Oh, let me invest in
Let me go
the
invest in
Kit
this.
Kat bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me buy some Kit Kat bar today because Kit Kat bar going 30 points tonight. Then I'm gonna sell Kit Kat bar at midnight so then I can get the Snickers the next day. No, stop doing
Yeah.
it. Stop doing it. Are
Yeah.
you even watching the games? Okay. Are you actually even supporting these players? Okay. Are you actually donating to foundations that these players started and that the foundations actually help the community? No. Like, okay. Okay. Do you go to the
Okay.
games? No. Okay. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I'm
no,
just
I
big on
hear you.
support. I'm just big on supporting. I'm
Yeah.
huge on it. I'm
The
huge on it.
organic
Like,
way. Yeah.
yeah, and recently me and my daughter just came back from Vegas. We went
Hmm.
there for a few days and then we went to the women's basketball league called Athletes Unlimited. And
Uh-huh.
we went and support and we watched the games on TV and when they come on and different things like that. But we wanted to go and we wanted to support and it doesn't take much to support what you really like. And you know what I mean? And it doesn't and you'll have a good time. It just needs to be authentic, you know? And people just need to do what they want to do and not do what somebody tells them is the 10 hottest things to do or
Yep.
10
Yep.
hottest sneaks to buy, you know, or the 10
Like you
hottest
said.
movies to go see.
Yep.
Like,
That's
come
how we
on.
program. Yep. That's how we program. That's how, you know what I'm saying? That's one thing I try and do too is everything that I'm upset about or that I don't like or dislike. I try and look at first. I try and look at it like, okay, what part of that is in me that I don't like, and I'm just trying to. I'm blaming somebody else. Okay, that's in me. All right, that's on somebody else. But then also, okay, like you said it earlier, you got to look at people's surroundings and their community and what how they were raised. If I was raised in this house and they taught me the alphabet backwards, then I would be reading the alphabet backwards, and that would be normal for me. Like Sister Act 2, right? Sing Mary Had a Little Lamb. I don't
She
know
don't know
Mary
the
Had a
words.
Little Lamb.
She don't know the words of Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Maybe Mary
She
didn't
know the
have a little
love boat.
lamb.
She know the love boat
She
though.
the love boat.
Yeah,
You feel
exactly.
me?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I try and use empathy. That's another
Yeah.
tool I used at Playwork. I learned at Playworks. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like really trying to doesn't mean I'm gonna be your best friend. I just want to know how your mind work and why. You know, okay, I got it
Exactly.
now. You know what I'm saying? So then now I know how to navigate. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't mean I'm trying to be your best friend. I still disagree with you. I just want to know why. Yeah.
Exactly. I totally agree. Like, and empathy has to grow within the hobby, has to be shown because you know the youth is always the future for everything. Like I tell people all the time, like you know the youth is going to be ones who's fulfilling your prescription order, and if they don't know how to properly count or do this and that third, they're going to be giving you the wrong pills, and you're going to be hobbling out that CVS store, like, or they're going to be your doctors and your nurses. Like that's the same thing with the hobby. Like that is it, and things have to change. Like you know, people say, "Oh, it's gonna be fine. Kids still in the hobby." Okay, you know, like come on. The average kid who wants to come in the hobby and doesn't have a like a somebody to navigate, like somebody like us or somebody who's in the hobby, they could not be able to sustain. They wouldn't.
Nope.
You go to have them go to a card show. Have them go to a card. How intimidating would that be? Or
I'm
even
intimidated at a card show when I first started going to card
you know,
shows
for
last year.
somebody who don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
how intimidating would be, or it was trying to buy a box of wax. How like you keep buying and buying, and you like, dang, like, and you don't. It's just a lot. It's just a lot that is wrong with the pathway for the youth. You know, I'm talking like talking 14 and under 14 because I see some 12, 13, 14 year olds that's in it and you know they cool. I look at them like little businessmen or businesswomen, like because they can navigate it, they can trade, they can move up in cards, that they in a different lane. But the average kid who wants to get in, man, like I try to, like when parents come to me for advice, I always give advice, just try to help them out as best as possible to avoid a lot of pitfalls, because you know no matter who you are or what you have, every dollar you earned it hard, and you don't want it to go to waste, especially over some hype mess or over a bad decision to buy, you know, wax versus just buying the card straight up that you might want, or actually having conversations with the kid, your child or the kids, about who do you actually want to collect and why you want to collect this person, and hear them out. Like and then if they don't know, to say, come back to me. You can come back, or you just let me know. Like don't do it because your friend likes Lamar Jackson. You know,
Right.
you
Yeah.
might actually like Michael Vick. You go on YouTube, you might say, "Dad, give me Donovan McNabb or Joe Montana
Yeah.
or Jerry Wright." Like you like. So I tell people, I'm like, dig into what players you want to collect, or what sport, or what teams, and then you can just like kind of like navigate a to-do list or a curriculum. You have to have a curriculum in this
Oh,
hobby for
facts.
kids,
I like
because
that.
if you don't, it's going to be. And I went through it. I went through some of this. Me and my daughter like to rip. We like to rip. I'm telling you. And I'm telling you, and the last few times we ripped, I'm telling you straight up, last few times we ripped, we were not smiling. We were not happy. And I was trying to put up, a front, but we were disappointed. We were like,
Yeah.
kind of like, me and my daughter was like, dang, I ain't getting no shiny cards out of here. And
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, all them thinking the dollars falling from the tree. I'm like, damn, I might would have just, uh, I don't know.
Yep.
I don't.
That's why I don't rip, because that feeling right there that you described, that silent, dead, stale, cold
Yeah.
feeling of
And the thing,
nothing.
and then nothing, and this is the issue, right? And I know people will say like to say this, stand the third about it. For us, it's fine. That feeling is fine, because that's the feeling of gambling at a casino, or gambling with your friends, or sports betting. I don't sports bet because I don't like betting with players. I don't like that. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's fine for us. We're adults. But for
But for the
kids,
kids,
that is not. I do not believe that is good, because it's like, if say if you buy some wax for $10 and you get 50 cent worth of stuff out of there, that's not cool for a kid to kind of process that. If you get $5, $7 out of, okay, but it's just not making sense to where they are able to navigate and sustain and make sense of it, because they're becoming little gamblers. They're chasing something that they shouldn't be even thinking about chasing, because their brain should still be innocent, or in the lines of
yeah,
innocence, or in the lines of happiness or joy. They should be getting joyous feelings out of card collecting, out of this hobby, and a lot of times too, a lot of adults, the adults within the hobby don't have those feelings naturally, so it doesn't naturally rub off, so that's why I kind of just like stay in my lane. Me and my daughter do our own thing. Like I said, we go to a car show, like our thing, we like to do it, like our main goal is to have fun, kick it. We go to Chick-fil-A after every show. That's just our thing. Like it's not
yeah.
necessarily about the money. It's not like, it's about the memories, it's about the
The
moments, it's
memories and the
about,
moments.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
seriously, like that's just the way I roll. But it's gonna be very interesting. I just hope the whole fanatics thing, I hope that they really have a division, or somebody really in charge of the future for the youth, and how they want to keep them connected in a sustainable way. Because at the
They're
end
gonna,
of the
yeah.
day, even like I said with StockX, right? Yeah, we can go on StockX and you see whatever on there for whatever dollars. But you still can go in a Foot Locker and buy a $60, $70 shoe. You still can go on Ross and buy a $30 shoe. But cards, all right, people say, oh yeah, you can go in the dollar box and stuff like that. Yeah, but most of those cards in the dollar box are nicked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Come
Or
on.
to a certain degree, like, or like to a certain degree, like this, it's not actually super comparable to it, because you know, I know people say, "Oh, yeah, kids come to my table, kids come." Yeah, but it's very few. But if we need the influx of kids that should be coming in, they have to have their own path, their own roadmap
That-
to succeed within this hobby.
And what people don't understand, Erica, is that the average kid, or the average kid that wants to collect and can't, does not have an Instagram. Like the
No.
kids, my kid,
Mm-hmm.
the kids that we like, this is what my kids are privileged. You never have to send my kids anything. If I
Mm-hmm.
can't afford to get it for them, they don't get it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? My kids aren't the average kids who want to collect. If they want to collect, they can collect. I can buy
Mm-hmm.
it for them if I want to. I'm not buying them no expensive ass, but it got to be in budget. I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? But if they want, like, we're able to buy them stuff if we want. You know what I mean? But the average kid doesn't even know. They don't have access. They don't have resources, and that's why places like Fanatics are going to need us. When I say us, our community, because we are locked into these
Yeah.
communities, right?
Yes.
And like you said,
Yes.
everything is the future. The kids are the future of everything, not just the hobby. Like you said, they're going to be taking care of us when we go to the doctor. They're going to be
Mhm.
making our car. They're going to be doing everything for us, right?
Yep.
So to put that investment in them via the hobby, it's a win-win all across the board. But it frustrates me a lot sometimes on IG. But like I said, people are just unaware. There's a lot that
Yeah.
I'm unaware of too, and I'm ignorant too as well. But like all these kid giveaways, I love the kid giveaways. That's not what I'm
Mhm.
saying. Continue to do the kid giveaways.
Yeah. I like the
Don't.
kid, but they're
I
great.
love the kid giveaways, but I
Hmm.
want people to understand that the IG kid giveaways are not enough. Those
No, this is
kids
what I
can
said. Yeah.
afford and have the time to get on. They have a phone, they have internet access. Okay, not all kids have phones and internet access. I'm gonna tell a true awakening. Even in 2022, I work at a
Yeah.
school. I know this. Not every
Mhm.
single kid has
I
a
used to
phone
work
and
in
has
school
internet
too,
access.
so
Yeah,
I know just like you. That's why when I used to work in schools from pre-K all the way to high school, like
yeah,
so in different cities. So it's like like you said, and like I've been saying, like they in order for it to go where this hobby actually can go and grow and be big and be healthy, they have to create an avenue. They have to create an avenue. They have to like they have to it's like you
yeah.
said. It's one thing kids can get some cards for free. That's great. That's awesome. That's a blessing. But at the same time, if they want to stay active in a hobby or even active enough, they have to have an avenue where they can ride their bike and not have the training wheels on. If you know what I mean,
Exactly.
like.
Like you said, that
But
curriculum.
I'm telling you, a lot of this is going to lie on the shoulders of fanatics because a lot of everything in the hobby is going to lie on the shoulders of them. But a lot of it is, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what
Yeah,
happens, but it's going to be very interesting.
it
It's
is.
going to be it's going to be sad. It's going to be sad if I don't see an influx of kids coming in.
Right. Based off a history of the hobby, I believe there will be an attempt. I don't, there have
Okay.
been attempts in the past. There haven't been successful attempts because these attempts haven't been led or spearheaded by the right individuals or group of people. Right. Like I always tell people, I can give 4 different principals $1 million. Some of those schools are still going to go into debt because the person managing the money. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? The money doesn't make it equal or justice. Just you still need the right people. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Running it.
Yeah.
I used to be in clubhouse rooms, and Erica, you know me, I don't bite my tongue.
Yeah.
Because I'm 38 years old and the hobby is a hobby. And I only answer to my lady. I still answer to moms. Thank you, whatever she need anything or granny. And then the principal and the women at my school who I look up to and help guide me to make right decisions. I'm not
Mhm.
afraid to say I look up to them. I don't have to
Yes.
look I look up to individuals in the hobby.
Hmm.
I don't look up to none of these corporations in the hobby. So
That's
I
true.
don't have to
That's
bite my
true.
tongue. I don't have to,
That's true.
they don't like for me personally, but I have a different role. I'm not in here like I don't sell cars, I don't bike.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have a different role, so I'm able to do something different. You know what I mean? Different, but I don't bite my tongue. I don't like to
Yeah.
bite my tongue. I like to say so I've been in clubhouse rooms and I asked the people who work for Panini or the people who used to work
Mhm.
for Upper Deck and the people who used to work for this, how come y'all don't do this and why hasn't this been done? Like I
Mhm.
literally anything you see me post on IG in my story, I've
Yeah.
literally been in their DMs and I got or clubhouses and I always make sure I keep receipts so people don't say this black guy just making stuff up and he crazy. You know,
Yeah.
I got an ex-wife too, and with my ex-wife, I had to be my own lawyer. So I'm just
Yeah.
as good. You know how black women
Yeah.
can investigate? I got that black woman card where I know how to investigate. Yeah, like
Exactly.
I can represent myself in court because I stand on the truth and documentation, and I beat every law team that ever stepped tried to because no, you know what I mean? So I
Exactly.
literally used to ask the upper deck people, well, if y'all had something like people from upper deck used to tell me, oh no, we had initiatives where we went into communities and gave them cars and this. Well, what happened? Oh, well,
That
it
that
fell
that
short. Well,
that's not necessarily the answer. That's why I say like
that's not the
that's why I
answer.
say
That's
they
not
have
the
to have
answer.
they have to have it's more than just oh, I'm gonna
You need a
give
smart goal.
It's about
You need an
it's more than
aim. You need a smart goal. You need core values. The hobby doesn't stand on any of that.
nah,
You
no,
you
no,
you can't
no,
go to
no.
any one of the top hobby corporations or businesses and say, all right, let me learn about some values here. What do they stand on? There aren't any core
But
values.
the only thing that seems to be the main corporate is just the money, and that's what
Money.
most that's what most businesses is. I get it, but not come on, like
Not
have some type of balance.
today.
Have
Not
some type of balance.
anymore.
But
Yeah. That's I tell people that was the last 150 years in the hobby. Moving forward, these next 150 years, we're going to continue to create spaces where it's just not the dollar sign that's valued. Like Collector says, human capital. We are the stock. We're betting on these cards. We're betting on these cards, and that's why I like to throw them. Like I know there's value in those cards, but at the same time, they're worth a penny.
yeah,
It's a sports car. You know what I like said, the value is in the story to me. The value is in,
yeah,
oh, I
yeah,
own that card,
yeah,
this is how I got that card, or that player has a story that just resonates with me because I relate to it, or it's just so out of this world, it's so cool to me, or it's so different. You know what I mean? Like that's where the value I feel is lost when women aren't given their just due, when people
mhm,
when women athletes aren't given their just due because us men don't continue to tell the stories of the women who did just as great things and greater things as you know what I mean. Now we hog the playing field. We want to hog it and just talk about all these guys who do great things. That's cool too, but they mama made them.
yeah. No, I agree. And you're right though. You hit a nail on the head about the feelings and everything like that, because most people aren't moved like that. So I guess that's why some people just feel like unattached to, cards in general, or unattached to players, or unattached to the respect that they should give the players or the sport. So I always have to sit back and remind myself that, like, everybody don't have those type of feelings. Like, everybody
Yeah.
don't have those type of thoughts. Like, I just gotta just like, yeah, okay,
Yeah, and
okay,
that's
cool.
fair. And I want people to know that that's fair. Everybody's allowed to feel, not judging. From our position, we're speaking on it because in the hobby there's an unbalance, and in order to create that imbalance, to balance it off, it has to be spoke upon and mentioned so people can know it's out there, so they can start thinking about it.
Yep.
They think about it first and they speak about it, and then we can start learning and engaging and changing, and for the better. So I gotta tell people, I'll be that sacrificial lamb. The hobby is not gonna cause me to lose my job. I do my job well. If I
Yeah.
lose my job, it's because they don't got enough money to pay me. It's not because
Yeah.
I'm not. School systems get school districts don't have a lot. So the ho- I'm never gonna bite my tongue in the hobby, and I'll be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'll be
I'll be right.
wrong. I'm die on that hill. But at the same time, I know that what we are doing collectively as a community in the hobby and what a lot of people are pushing. And this is not just black people. Like a lot
No,
of this is not like there's white people and other people who feel the same way we
yeah,
do about it. They look at it and
completely agree.
describe it. They come to me like, bro,
Completely
I'm
agree.
tired of seeing this is crazy. Not even on no trying to get the black vote, black card, not
No,
even
yeah,
like that. On some genuine, this is weird and this don't feel right type thing.
yep. I agree. I agree completely. I agree completely. It's just, that's why I said is that everybody kind of built differently, and it's just it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting to see where things go. But like you
I
said,
already
you had a good point about a lot of kids who aren't necessarily in the hobby that maybe be in the hobby one day. They don't have Instagram, but a lot of them are on YouTube, and a lot of them can stumble upon some of the YouTube content out here about cards, or or the hobby. So that might be like their first entrance into it, and and it could be a good thing, slightly, but mostly a bad thing. Because if they come into it, like it just like nowadays with kids with sneaks. The first thing
yeah.
they think about sneakers is about money or this and 30, instead of actually what the sneaker and the sole and the laces and the leather is made to do, be worn on your foot so it can protect your foot from the elements of the outside. Like, come on. Do you know that $100 sneaker costs $4.75 to be made? Just like you said with the card, it costs like a penny 2 cent, or you know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's deep. Like, it's deep. It just I don't know. I don't know. It's just deep.
Yeah, we're gonna continue to hopefully we not hopefully we are gonna continue to model the things we want to see. That's all we
For
can
sure.
do. I feel like as adults and parents, you know what I mean. Right. Yeah. It's because for me too, especially sometimes, some we write content sometimes and we try and be funny. You know what I mean? And sometimes we literally have to think, well, hold on. All right. Sometimes being funny isn't like if it's funny and respectful, we'll be funny and respectful. If it's funny and educational, we'll be funny and educational. Um, I'm not gonna talk about a player. I'm not gonna you know what I mean? For my to so I can make y'all feel better and make y'all laugh, I got to talk about him and his and what he's not doing. Weak me. You know what I mean? So it's not
Yep.
everything we're gonna turn into content. I see a lot of people sometimes coming like, "Oh, you should use this as content." But we don't react to everything. We don't look at
Yeah.
everything the same way people do. You know what I mean? Or we do, but we're just not gonna react to it the same way
Exactly.
because there's already enough energy there. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
it's a
Exactly.
host
It's
of different
it, it's
things.
it's a lot more positive things within the world in general, within sports in general, that should be focused on than the negatives. Like people like to I'm not gonna say a player name, right? But I'm just gonna say people like to focus on player A. He had 8 turnovers. This and a third. Yeah, maybe one game 8 turnovers. Next game might have 2 turnovers, but 30 points, 3 blocks, eight assists, 5 steals. No, everybody want to keep talking about the 8 turnover game. Like it's like just focus on you just want to focus on the negative so much within the hobby per se, because it goes back to the card value. Because you can sit there and analyze the player or for the sport itself for the team. That's cool. That's what you do with sports. That's fine. But when it comes to the valuing of it, that's not fair assessment of the player based on a, this performance. That like you got to look at the overall resume,
Yeah.
overall achievements. That's why when it comes to the hobby, it's like some players is valued monetarily a lot more than others. I'm like, hey, they didn't even achieve much. Like, why is Vince Carter price is so low? Do you know what this man achieved? I
Yeah.
can't even put
I
into
don't
words
get it.
words
Yeah, I
what
don't
he.
get that.
But if it wasn't for Vince Carter, you wouldn't be seeing a lot of these players in the NBA playing the way that they did do. You know what I mean? Like,
Say that.
come on. You
Yep,
can
I
go.
never got that.
The list can go on. The list can go on. Like, but it's like my thing is to have a balance with it. My thing is like, all right, Vince don't have to be the same cost as maybe a modern player you just pulled, but Vince should be valued more than where he's at. Dwayne Wade should be valued more than where he's at.
More than what
You
they
know,
at.
Cindy
Yeah.
Cooper should be valued more than where she's at. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. Like, all right, you got Sue Bird or Diana Taurasi or all these other players, which are great, and their values are pretty good. But why Cynthia Cooper's values? You know what I mean? Like, come on, it's you got to go back in time a little bit to even the playing scale of terms of values, because
Because
I don't understand.
yeah, value is respect and honor. Like I think because for us, and I think in our culture, value just isn't monetary.
Yeah,
Value is
yeah,
love. Like we can name so many other feelings, emotions, adjectives, nouns, verbs that you know what I mean, that value come from. And I think
hmm
specifically in the hobby, people just a lot of people, majority of the hobby, because that's what it was built on. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Just see the
yeah,
value as that, which is kind of
yeah.
which
And
is
you
hey,
know,
that's
you know something I noticed. I don't. This is something that I just noticed that sometimes, especially with like players, it's like people who are actually collecting them. It's a popularity thing. It's a more of a relatability thing with that collector. It's like I look at players. I'm like, why is this like I I don't. I'm not even going to name players because it's certain players. I'm like, this player just got an MVP, and why is their prices still low? Like, their prices should have elevated more, but come on, like, nah. They
it
want to
doesn't
keep the
make sense. No, I
they want to
say
keep
it
the
does.
same players at this high level, which they want to keep them at the Tesla prices and the Apple price. Eh, you know, you
Yeah,
they come on.
it doesn't make sense to me. Now, I say it like there's no way that, like you said, a player like Vince Carter, there's no way in heck that any player and shout out to every single player for working hard. We're talking about I'm specifically talking about monetary card value here.
Yes,
There's no, I don't believe, and I could be wrong, but I don't believe there's one player who was possibly drafted from basketball wise from 2016 or 17 to today whose card should be worth more than Vince Carter's.
I agree. I agree. I agree.
I just think that should be, that's because there's no standards, morals, codes, or you know what I'm saying, or rules or metrics that the hobby goes by. It's just whatever the majority says, because the majority controls the group economics, and they want, just like in every other market, they want they top to stay the top. So they
Mm-hmm.
deem what the value is, you know what I mean, within their community, and everybody else looking up. Like you said, we're forced to follow if we don't know any better, you
That's
know.
true.
But
That's
Erica,
true.
times are changing. We're creating, I believe that it's
True.
okay to create another community where we're allowed. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, let's just say we just create a community, and it's just you and I in that community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just you and me, Erica, in that community. And I got a losing lottery ticket right here, but you
Yeah.
still value this lottery ticket at $2 million. So you give me $2 million for this ticket.
Mm-hmm.
In our community, this is worth $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
This piece of card that's really worth 1 cent in their community, they made it worth $6 million because they put that value there. You know what I mean?
I
We can
agree.
put that value there. We can do the same. We want to do the same thing they do. And I'm not looking down on it. I'm looking
No.
up at it saying, ooh, I want that for our people too. So we're going
Yeah.
to teach them because we've never been taught. So we're going to
Yes.
teach them, all of us collectively, at least everybody. So that's what I'm saying. You feel me?
I
Is that
I
we're gonna
agree.
create our community where we can, when we say the stories of Harriet Tubman and we say the stories of the Serena Williams sisters, right, and their father, that adds a value that's more than monetary. That
Mm-hmm.
sparks and that inspires one child, one human being, that saves a life, creates something, an artist, a photographer, a stylist. It doesn't even have to be an athlete, an
Yeah.
educator, a doctor, telling these stories, because all these people, all these athletes, they're not just athletes. Just
No.
like you look at all those pictures behind you. Like, you like art. You said it. You like arts of many forms. All
Mm-hmm.
these athletes, they either are other things or they want to be other things at the same time too. So we should
Yep.
want to, I feel that's the most relatable and coolest part about them, is that they're human. Like, knowing that they're human is like, oh, I know he just doesn't, or she just doesn't play basketball. What else does she do? Oh, she's the owner of a team. Dang, she has her own business. Dang, she has her own charity. Dang, that's the dope part to me.
Exactly. You hit the nail on the head with that. You hit the nail on the head with that. It's very interesting. It's gonna be very interesting to see.
So we creating those communities where that is spoke about.
Yeah.
It's honored. It's appreciated. And we got to continue to tell those stories over and over again. You know, just like that auntie who tell you the same story over and over again. Like, auntie, you just told me that story 5 minutes ago, but it's good. Or
I,
last time I seen you, you told me that story, grandma. Okay, it's all good. You know, we gotta be them. We gotta be them.
I know it'll be very very interesting. It's like, but you know what? I just was briefly thinking about like Vince Carter, right? In
Mhm.
our era, like he was the man, right? But other people's eras, like somebody who's 27 or below, they might not really be
I know
infused
who
with
it
Vince
is.
Carter. Just like the AI like effect, like they might not be infused with AI, but at least with AI, he was able to still transcend after basketball with his just his swag. He still had sneakers out. It still continued to roll. Vince didn't really have that, So I
Right,
had to really realize like maybe some of that has an effect on the popularity or the connectability of the player. You know what I mean? Like, because when when I travel and stuff, like I remember the first time I went to Italy. I went to Italy a few times. First time I went to Italy, I stepped out the airport, right, to
mhm.
go get on the bus to go hang out with my friends. First billboard I see was Kobe Bryant in a suit, right? Cool. When I went to China, I was in Beijing. Billboards, Kobe Bryant. Cool. We all know Kobe's global, but still he's visible. He's
Yeah,
visible in countries that have more people than we do in the US. Vince
yeah,
Carter, didn't necessarily had it like, he didn't Vince probably might not even been on billboards in Philadelphia. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like,
right,
I have to evaluate that too. That
yeah.
you know, but at the same time, I'm still like I never seen Althea Gibson play live, but man, you talking about greatest athletes of all time? I'm talking about Althea Gibson. I'm talking about Muhammad Ali. Like, come on, come on.
Hey, you know I
Come
got
on,
some out there. I got some out there.
come
I know
on.
about me some out
But
there.
you don't. But that's why I had
Hey,
to. Sometimes like that's no excuse. Like that's no
where
excuse.
is it? I
Like
got out,
you can
out there. Yeah,
you can sit here and watch an NBA game, 48-minute NBA game, but you can't watch a 10-minute clip of Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Kevin
crazy.
Garnett, Tim Duncan.
Man,
That's just the surface. You keep going down further and further.
yeah,
You keep going back to Magic, Larry. You keep going back further and further. But you know what I mean. So, and these people have footage. It's not like Wilt Chamberlain with we got like a 2-minute footage of him. You know what I mean? Like very little footage.
yeah.
But other players they had full games. Like I still watch Houston Comets games on YouTube. I still watch Michael Jordan games on YouTube, even though I seen the games live. But instead of watching the current NBA game or something, I might not want to watch whatever because it's boring sometimes. I'll throw in an old school game and still have that same excitement. So it's like, come on.
Yeah, facts. No, I
Come on.
fully feel you
Like,
there.
come on. You can go on YouTube and watch Serena Venus' first match. You can watch their whole career. You can watch it on YouTube. Come on.
There's no excuses. There's
Come
no
on.
excuses
No
for
excuses.
ignorance in
There's no
2022.
excuses. No
Yep.
excuses. No excuses. What? No excuses. Why? When you talk about greatest athletes of all time, Serena is not mentioned. Like sometimes she's mentioned with some people, but she should. When you think about
She's
greatest of all
mentioned
time,
after. She's mentioned
yeah,
after somebody
she
has
should
to
be.
put her in
She
there. It's never
she's
just
on that
first.
first level. She's on that first
Somebody
level.
mentions somebody, then they mention Serena. But you said it too, like Althea Gibson, ancestor. Like
Come
whenever
on,
people say her name, I got it. And that's somebody who I just learned. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna act like I knew who she was my whole life. I learned about her last year. But now I've been
amazing.
riding, man, first African American period to win Wimbledon. Period. After she was banned and the U.S. didn't even want her to play, she used to practice at nighttime because they didn't used to let her practice at the parks during the day, right? And then at
Mhm.
night they used to cut the lights off. Guess what she did? She kept practicing in the dark, like this,
Exactly.
like this, like this. And then she
Exactly.
said, "You know what? Tennis kind of boring. I'm cool. I'm finna go sing." And then she was on TV singing and dancing, live,
Yep.
real singer, professional singer. Then she said, "You know what? I'm good at that. Let me go pick up the golf club." She played
Exactly.
professional golf. You said, "Let me go pick up this
Exactly.
racket one more time and dominate." Man, she was a monster.
Exactly. 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 That's what
Yeah,
I'm
you
saying.
said the
Like,
wrong name. I love me some out there.
no, no, but I'm just speaking facts. Like, I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I love me some out there.
I'm a big fan of Billie Jean King as well. Like,
Ooh,
like a lot. Come on, come on, come on. And a league that does not get the flowers it deserves. Just in general, the Negro League. Like, I'm a big fan and supportive of our brothers who who put in the work. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. If it wasn't for them, it wouldn't be all these other leagues. Like, come on, like, come on.
and that's with
Come, come,
everything. That's with
come on,
everything.
come
We
on.
didn't make.
Like,
Yep.
even some players, some of the top players, out of the league, their car values aren't what they should be. Come on. But
Yep. Doesn't
like
make
some people
sense.
might not recognize them as being great or elite. Like,
But
hey,
I tell you, Erica, I promise you, we're gonna continue to do what we do. We play our part. We do what our ancestors put in us to do individually, and then collectively we do it right. I promise you, 150 years from now, or sometime in between then,
yeah,
and in these communities that we create, those Negro League player artifacts, cards, whatever, the value gonna be worth more than any monetary value of any card today across any like I know that, like, you know what I'm saying, like
yeah,
our ancestors already told me that, like on
yeah.
some real, like it's like people gonna call me crazy, certain stuff I see the future in, like I know there's gonna be a either the hobbies are gonna accept and start warming up to embracing culture and change and inclusiveness, right? Or
Yep.
these other communities are just gonna form and the value is going to be placed there. So
Just
because people like you said it. You feel me? If you didn't say it, if we didn't have this on for people to know, oh, Negro League, what for sure? Okay, let me
the,
go check that in. Why?
I agree.
Okay.
The, the,
Oh,
the,
bet.
the stories and conversations have to continue being told, like what we're doing. Like, it has to, because that's the only way it's going to keep living on for the youth to continue to hear and understand. Like, I I I never really seen Wilt Chamberlain play, but I grew up hearing stories about how, of course, I'm from Philly, whatever, but grew up hearing stories about how great he was, and like people breaking down sequences of play by play of him, and I'm just envisioning it into my mind. So it's like that's the same thing you got to do moving forward. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, I'll give you a quick story too. When we was in Vegas
Yeah.
and me and my daughter was waiting in the line to the Vegas sign, we was on some touristy tip. Normally we not touristy travelers, but I had this hoodie on the whole leg. I had the whole leg, and these
Yeah.
two older ladies, they was like, I'm putting my water down. They was like this. they started talking all these Muhammad Ali stories. Like these ladies might have been like 60s or something like that.
Uh,
They was like float like a butterfly singing, like they was in the line in the Vegas the strip line, like, and I was just like, yes, they was like, that was like, that's much respect, much love, you know what's up, like, yeah,
yeah.
like, I don't wear this because I think it's fly. Yeah, I think it's fly and it's comfortable, but I wear what it represents,
It
like, you
means
know what I mean?
something.
Like,
It sends a
it means
message to
something.
you.
Muhammad Ali,
Yeah.
like, come on. If it wasn't for him, come on, the
Come on.
world wouldn't be where it is. You know what I
Come
mean? Like,
on.
the stories have to be, told. That's why I'm big on documentaries. One thing I do like, there's a lot of good documentaries that have been produced within the last few years and are continuing to be produced, but it's important that the youth watch them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's important. Like, it's extremely, like, a documentary that I really loved. I love Maya Moore's documentary that she had on ESPN.
Oh.
I thought that not even 10 out of 10. I thought it was 100 out of 100. Well done from beginning to end. You know, from somebody from Mars to Pluto can understand and relate and empathize, and all of the above what that story was. So it's like, documentaries like that have to be, shown moving forward, as kids get older, and have an understanding, so they can look back and be like, dang, like, the, she she was an amazing person. Then you,
I can
just
do
like
that
Ali, when you
too.
think of Ali,
Yeah.
you think he was an amazing person. Then you could be like, all right, he was a killer in the ring. He was this, that, and the third. But when you could break down that person in general, just amazing person, that's where it starts at, and that's where the
That's where it
relatability
starts.
comes in at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Then I think I can do it too. Like I like
exactly.
Ali. Like that's I love seeing it. Even today, like I can go watch Ali. Like I said, I like to talk. I don't bite my tongue. You said the ancestors are in us. Which ancestor? Which ancestor? Which one of them you think is that? Huh? That's
You,
Ali. You feel like I'm not gonna bite my tongue. I'm
yeah,
not. I'm like some people may, you know what I'm saying, but
yeah.
certain areas, but I'm not, especially in something I stand on and I believe in, and you know what I mean, especially if it's within me and who I am. You know what I'm saying? That
Mm,
doesn't mean I don't stand up for every single thing that I relate to or that I don't relate to. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
the thing that I'm passionate about and I feel like I was put in a place to change and impact, or I'm not biting my tongue.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Ali
Exactly.
with it. I'm
The
punching too. I'm
relatability
sending jabs. Yeah. So I
is
relate to it. Yeah.
it's crucial. It's crucial to, like, it's crucial to the hobby's growth. Like, even now, I ask people when I'm like, hey, I'm like, hey, you collect cards or whatever. I just randomly ask people, and most people they oh, no, I see I see it's growing, but they don't have a relatability connection to it that they might not be able to connect themselves. But I think everybody has it for the most part. Anybody who may like sports or watch sports or support athletes, they're connected to it if they know it or not. You know what I mean? Like, and and my thing is, like, everybody does not have to be a card head, sneaker head, card head. You don't have to have a suitcase full of cards. But you can have one or two cards in your collection, and have pride and put that on your mantelpiece next to your candle, your Bath and Body Works candle. When you got the movie on, you look at the candle, but you see the card out the corner of your eye, and you look at it with
Yeah.
pride. That's the level of what I'm talking about, like, the hobby growing towards. You know what I mean? Like, but it's gonna be very interesting of how it gets there. I just hope that people, the masses, the general masses, don't get turned off by the money talk, about the money focus, about the player bashing, and I hope people, are able to connect with the relatability of the players, the relatability of other good people within the hobby, the relatability of the actual artwork of the card, different breakdowns like that. I just, I think a lot, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think they
I'm,
will. Yeah, I think we on the right. I think we on the right
I'm deep.
path. I'm not gonna lie. Like you said, it's we still far away. We got a long way to go, but we definitely getting better because look at you and I. We here today. We're talking about it promotes action, right? And we just don't like you stepping. You go to these shows. You're representing. You know what I'm saying? You're somebody at these shows in person,
Yeah.
live and direct, representing for us and for the hobby at the same time. That's what the hobby has to understand. Like, man, we all represent each other. My uncle used to tell us all the time, if it's in the world, it's in you. I am, we are. You know, what I mean? Whether
Yes.
it's violence, whether it doesn't matter. If it's in the world, it's in you. That doesn't mean we act upon it. That doesn't mean we, you know what I'm saying? We actually do all of those things, but we're capable of it, and it's
Yeah.
happening in our world, so it's in us too. Um, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like you said, yeah. So we that just helps me take more responsibility and us more responsibility, and that's really what gives me hope. And just knowing that there is going to be when your daughter and my kids are collecting and navigating through these
Mm-hmm.
hobby spaces and collectible spaces for sure, and any other spaces that we and other people help change and make good, they're going to be more comfortable. You know what I mean? They're going to feel safer. They're going to be valued. What they value will be valued. There'll be a place and a space for that to where they don't have to search and go look. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's what we building right now, and it's dope. We get to be them ones. Like I keep telling
Yeah.
people that, and it's crazy because I do a lot of hobby history. I don't know everything, but I
Mm-hmm.
can I can go back and pull out my notebook, like literally this thick of stuff that I've written down. I'm old school. I write stuff down. I go online. I write it down. I fact check. I write it down. I watch a video. I write it down. Like I literally, you know what I'm saying? I'm horrible with it. And 150 years from now, sometime between then, there's gonna be a brother and sister, like on in the metaverse, on Mars. They on a rocket ship back from the moon, and they gonna be watching this, and they gonna be like, hey, Pack, and love what you collect. Man, they were part of the originators of this. Can you believe it? We're in 3012 and we've came a long way, but we got a long way to go.
I truly hope so. I truly hope so.
I know so. I
I
know
hope
so.
I hope so.
Trust me. It's here. Trust me. It's here. That's
Yeah.
us.
I yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. I just I just take my breath when it comes to when I think about the decision makers within the hobby.
That's
you
why
know.
we got. That's why I said now. That's why we get to create these own space. The hobby has no rules, so since there's no rules for them, we get to. There's no rules, so we can create a spaces within the hobby where everyone or others feel comfortable and feel safe and can create
It's
that value. You
that's
feel
true.
me?
It's no rules, but it seems like it's hitting rules.
There is hidden rules.
So that's what
The
it's
hobby was built. The hobby was built on the same systematic practices, racial, and I don't even want to call it racial. It's to protect themselves and to protect their monies and to protect their families and protect their wealth. All right, to protect their businesses.
Mhm.
It was built on tobacco. The first card, or at least modern day card, we're talking 1868. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I consider. I'm saying modern 1868 because we can date it back to the Ming Dynasty. You feel me? Where
Wow.
they were trading actual. They weren't trading cards, but they were trading cards for currency on there. And then we could even take it back to Kemet in Egypt, where there's images of people doing stuff on pieces of. But anyway, we don't gotta
I,
go there.
I,
Let
I've been to Egypt and I've been in the pyramids, so I know
so
exactly
so
what you're
you
talking
feel
about.
me.
I know
So but
exactly
we're not going to take it there because sometimes that's too much for
I know
people.
exactly what you're
so
talking about.
so we'll start here in America in 1868 with
Yeah.
Peck and Snide. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll just say Peck and Snide in their baseball store, and they were like had baseball cards, and they, you know what I'm saying, and they packs or whatnot to advertise for their equipment store and stuff. And then from there, of course, tobacco companies, oh, that's brilliant, you know what I'm saying? Like right there, we should stop and dissect that and not move forward. The fact that tobacco companies started producing these things almost were the first people should tell you it wasn't built on any kind of moral code, compass, standard at all.
Exactly.
You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And
Exactly.
that's nothing against anybody who indulges in tobacco. You're a grown
Oh,
adult.
yeah.
Do what you
Oh,
want. Everybody
oh,
has your, you know what I'm saying? Do what you want. You feel me? What I'm saying is the hobby was built on that, built on it was built on that. It was built on that. And then at the same time, I'm always gonna say it, they were actually we had our ancestors working on some of these cotton fields through North Carolina, through Virginia, like all through, you know what I'm saying? Then there's images of them on trading cards that have the actual date, like they were actually made. Some of them were made during this time, and shortly after that, we have the Jim Crow era, and there's trading cards of images where this stuff was like they were making fun of us and then making money off making fun of us. You know what I mean? So the history will be told, but
mhm.
we're not gonna. That's not where it started. It always started where we're kings and queens, always. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't start from where we're slaves or we're being made fun of. It starts from where we're kings and queens. You know what I'm saying? And we're helping others out. And uh, of course we're ruling over each other too, and we're conquering, and there's always been war, and there's always been that stuff. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying everybody was smelling roses and helping each
Yep.
other out, but there were rules, morals, and codes. That's
Yeah.
one thing that's for sure. All
That's
right.
true. Great point. Great point.
And then there's right. And then when I, I, you two, we're gonna get into a whole nother, that's a whole nother segment. But what we will say is the history of the hobby itself wasn't built purely on people, you know what I mean, the goodness for the people, and anything like that. So we have to realize that and understand that if we want to create that or change that we're starting from the bottom, and it's going to take us a while because we can't expect anybody else to see it the way we see it. So if it's our truth, we'll be gay we'll build those spaces where other people can understand our truth, and if they relate, they relate. If not, hopefully they can say, okay, I agree to disagree, and if not, still cool too. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lose. We not losing no more sleep on them no more. We not. We gotta
No,
focus because
I'm,
we
I'm, I agree. I agree with you.
we just gonna keep on pushing and doing what's right. All right, I got one final. I always do this like an old school
Okay.
Joe Seat concert. I got one final question for you before we get up out of here. I know it's late on your side. It's like getting late on this side too. If you could if you can tell, I'm not even gonna say the 18-year-old Erica, just a younger Erica, you can give yourself one piece of advice, just period, in life. It doesn't even have to be in hobby, just in navigating and succeeding and surviving. You know what I mean? What would those pieces of advice be?
Listen to my ancestors more.
Oh,
Point blank. Period.
oh, I like that.
True.
I
That's
like
true.
that. That's how we started, and that's how we going close the book. It's not the end of the book, but we're just closing the book for now until we open back up and get to some more of these chapters. E
Exactly.
I appreciate you, like, for real, for real. It's been almost 2 hours, but it's feel like it's been 22 minutes. Like,
I
and
know
and,
it's been fun. It's been fun.
and the most organic part about it is everything that I wrote down, 75% of it you brought up, I ain't even have to bring up. Like, I thought that was dope. There was heck of stuff I wanted to talk about, but you already had touched on it. So it's like, oh, I don't even gotta look down at my notes because that's something like E brought it up. Like
Yep.
we rehearsed this before or something like that. You feel
Nah,
me?
it was
Oh, come here,
awesome. Yeah,
baby. Come say hi.
awesome.
Come say hi. See, look, this is my call too to get out. Y'all come say hi. Come say hi. Come say hi. Say hi.
Hi.
This is
Hi.
Aaliyah. This is two out of my four. And this is
Oh,
Alec. Al, say
hey.
hi.
Hi. Nice to meet
Four,
you.
and he's six. You're six, right, Al? Yeah, he's six.
Oh,
So I
six.
got
Oh, you got 6-year-old. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
You're four. Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, if they get that's they call in here whenever they come in here. That means they mama probably told them it's time for bed, and she's gonna say, "Daddy, can you sleep with me?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but we're definitely gonna run this back again, and like I tell
For
everybody,
sure.
when we
For
come on the
sure.
show next time we run it back, I actually do want us to talk beforehand, and I want us to come up with something educational. Or I want us to offer something like collab on something. It
For
doesn't have to
sure.
be a 2 hour segment, but something that we want to highlight or talk about specifically or showcase or share that resonates to us. You know what I'm saying? And we'll build that. No time restraints on that, or you know what I'm saying, constraints on that. We'll
Sure.
build that as we continue to vibe and grow. But if you ever need anything, man, RPS, we got you. You know what
Oh,
I
I need
mean?
one thing. I need one
What you
thing.
need? Yep.
You know what happened to Tasha? Where's she been at?
I can't. I heard. I can't say.
Where
You
where
know. I
where,
can't
where
tell you
Tasha
that.
ran? Where
You
Tasha?
know.
I've been
I
looking
can't.
for every
You
episode.
know. I can't tell you that. You know, in true power form. If I told you that, you wouldn't talk to me no more. You tried to test
Where's
me,
she at?
because you know if I told you, you'd be like,
You know,
"Oh,
Reek
you a
looking for it.
snitch."
Reek looking for it too. He trying to get a hold of his mom.
I'm not. I can't. But you know, Tariq. No, I can't say. You know, and you can't say. You tried to. You tried to. Man, people. All the power heads would have X'd me off the list if I would have said the answer to that.
I know. I know. I know. It's been fun. It's been fun. It's been real. It was nice meeting you face to
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm
Are
happy
you?
you in Philly. Huh?
Yes, I'm in Philly. Are you coming? Are you planning on coming to National
Man,
in Jersey?
so I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I'm always fully transparent. Where
Oh,
we would like to come to national, at the position that RPS, the value that RPS would like to add to the hobby, and the value that we would like others to be able to bring to into the hobby after us, the railroads that we trying to pave.
yes.
We really want to stick in our lane. So like we love collecting. We still collect. Like we buy. We don't sell cars
Mm-hmm.
to the public because we feel like our influence isn't fair to sell. Right. So
Mm-hmm.
if a card show values the impact and the value we can bring to a show through engagement, through entertainment, through education, then they will
Gotcha.
pay that. They will pay to have us out there. So National
Gotcha.
has not
Totally
reached
agree.
out, but I'll tell you this though, Sports Card Collector is in Philly. You in Philly.
Yeah.
Wiz is over there in Atlanta, always back and forth to
Uh,
Jersey and everywhere.
yep.
RPS might show up. We might show up, like we might show up and we might throw a party right next door to National, but might not go to National. You
Got
feel
you.
me? Like
Okay.
that's the hype. That's
Yeah.
the hype we own. Like if National doesn't want to embrace us in the value that we know we are, because other people have embraced us in this value. You know what I'm saying? Then
Totally
because
agree.
last year we went to National for the free ski and we gave them a free concert in a show. And
Yeah.
and there was camera crews filming and all that they, you know what I'm saying? We put National on last year, low key. For
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? So that, and like I said, I don't want people to think we big headed or all that. It's
Oh,
just no, we just know the
I
value
agree.
we bring. You know what I mean? And we really want to show people that value. And we're not charging $10 million. We just want
Nah.
people to pay for us to get out there, and so we can have a nice little clean pillow to sleep on, and then be able to buy a meal or something like that. That's it. This isn't our profession. We have professions, you know what I'm
No, I
saying? But our
totally agree.
value, but even if we don't get out to national, I was just talking to Sam today. He's in Philly. I'm
Yeah.
coming to Philly sometime in 2022. I'll
That's
be
what I
in
was at. That's
Philly.
what. Yeah. Yes.
I'll be in Philly at some point 2022. I can guarantee you that
Okay.
for sure.
Okay.
It's like it's a no-brainer because I got it. Both of y'all there. I was already coming just to mess with Sam, but I'm for sure coming, and I'm gonna make sure we link up and coordinate
Yes.
and do
Yes.
everything like that. I'm gonna try and yeah. Whenever it
Sure.
happens, it's gonna happen. But definitely 2022. That's my plan. That's my goal. That's one of my bucket
Sure.
list goals is to get out there and rock with y'all. I've been to Philly um twice. I think, yeah, low key, like fake away twice. Once
Oh.
I was in the 8th grade.
Oh.
I'm from the Bay Area, but I'm privileged in my own right. My parents are West Indian. So like this show, like in Living Color, like
Oh.
Hey Man. So my parents worked hella jobs. So they put us in a private school growing up. We were privileged to go to a private school in Oakland, but it was a private school, and if we were good. So 8th grade, one of our field trips was to Washington, D.C. And on the way to DC, on the way there, we stopped in a Philly airport for some
Mm.
reason. And I think there was there was like a Foot Locker in that thing back in the day. This was like in 97, 96, 97. It was lit. But then I'll never forget being in DC. And then we took a bus. And at some point, we were like in 3 different states within like a matter of, I don't know
That's what
how
I was
many
saying.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying
Yeah.
earlier. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
You,
I
you
like I,
yeah.
yeah, but I was
When
young and
you come to
privileged and
Philly,
spoiled back then. So
yep.
now I'll know how we embrace the culture. I was looking at it like this isn't home, and I was
No.
young and yeah, yeah, I
Next
was
time you come to
stupid.
Philly, you get the Philly experience, and then if you want to, go to New York, Baltimore, DC, it's all within reach. Like you get there 2 hours, 2.5 hours. But I
That's
was going to say, I
crazy.
know what I was going to say that
Yeah,
know you mentioned the steel drums, and I went
yeah.
to Trinidad. I love Trinidad Tobago, and I used to go a few times, and I love this. I love listening to live steel drums. I even bought the little one, so
What? I
yes,
swear.
I think I have my storage unit. I think I bought two, but I used to love listening to it live while eating some roti. Like,
I'm gonna have to send you something then. My pops, so my pops played the steel drums pretty much my whole life. He still does
that's
today. Businesses and my pops is like 70 something. Business isn't as booming as it was, you know what I'm saying? But my pops been playing the steel drums since he was like 20s, probably younger than that. You know what I
awesome.
mean? Yeah. So, and all of my uncles at the same time, they had a band, the Harmonic Steel Drum Band. Then it changed to the Best Steel Drum Band, Best Damn Steel Drum Band. So yeah, the steel drums. I used to play the bass steel drums back in the day. The
Yeah,
big six, oil, the big six drums. I used to play past the Dutchie to the left hand side. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. It was a cool and breezy Sunday afternoon. Boom, 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 boom. Oh yeah, I know all about the yeah.
yes,
I'm a
yes.
what we do is with all our guests, we haven't done it yet, so we
Okay,
don't nobody feel left out. We're gonna do it all at the same time. But we're gonna send out our guests all these little cool little packets with some cool RPS gear packaged
dope,
up like LOL dolls, so you can get that full
dope.
fun experience for the
Appreciate it.
kids. You know what I'm saying? But with
Appreciate
that,
it.
I'm gonna send you one of Pop CDs.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, and
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
send
definitely
you one. I'm gonna send you one of Pops and the Uncle CDs with the
please
live
do.
with the steel drums, and they got
Please
they, they redo songs like Little Mermaid. They got some original songs,
That's
but
dope.
mostly they doing the Little Mermaids and the Bob Marley songs and songs that people know because they
Yes,
perform at weddings and colleges and all them types of events. So that's
that's
dope. Yeah,
yes,
I'm gonna make sure there's a CD in your pack for
yes.
sure for sure.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. This was fun. This was more than fun. This was great. You know,
Yeah,
we got to talk. We got to talk about just universal stuff, like more than a hobby, more just about being just good people, about wanting better for our future. And then mixed in with the hobby. So it was amazing talk. I really appreciate it.
man, for sure, for sure. Thank you, E.
Yes.
Another thing, and this was well overdue. Like I tell all of our guests, majority of them, y'all should have been on. You already were. Shout out women of the hobby. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Shout out women of the hobby for having you on that platform. But as far as us, like if we could have had you on first, we would have had you on. We'd had everybody on first at the same
Yes.
exact time. Everybody's equally as valuable. There isn't no hierarchy of people we go after based on followers. We actually try and avoid anybody with a lot of followers. If we
Yeah.
do, last week we had Cherry Collectibles on. They have a lot of followers, but
Yeah.
like that was like organic. We didn't go after them and ask
Mhm.
them. We were literally talking. They asked us if we had a podcast, and I was like, "Yeah, would y'all like to
Yeah.
come on?" And you know what I mean. And it was just organic that way. We like to go after, like you said, just normal, kind,
Yeah. Yeah.
just any and everybody. And if you happen to have 1 million followers and that's what you give off to us, then yeah, we'll invite you on too. But man, we really are, representation that really matters to us. While you were talking, right around the same time you were talking about students, two of my students hopped in the room. You know what I mean? So my
That's what's
student,
up.
I have a lot of students who actually watch these long shows. They say our
That's
kids
what's
don't have
up.
attention
Love to these
spans. They actually watch it and they learn and they're inspired. You know what I mean? Boys and girls. The boys are
Yeah.
inspired by when they see men and women. The girls are inspired when they see other men and women because there's always something about the story that they
Yeah.
relate to that's not necessarily about the hobby, but then they're like, oh, that's dope. That's too. I
Yep.
felt that. That's why I always ask about feelings and emotions because that's
Yes.
one thing that kids can relate to more so than adults because kids go through
Mhm.
more feelings and emotions on a day-to-day basis than we can ever imagine, and they don't know how to navigate. A lot of them don't know how to navigate those feelings because we don't know how to navigate a lot of our feelings yet
True.
as adults. You know what I
Very true.
mean? So we always got to give the kids their just due too for being able to navigate through this crazy world and social media and YouTube and just, man, just
It's great. It's
be
the
so
it's the
resilient.
wild wild west out here.
It's crazy
The
out
Will
here.
Smith, the Will Smith version. It's
For
crazy.
real.
It's crazy. Crazy. Crazy.
Man. But all right, man. We gonna keep on going like a Jodeci concert. If we don't get out of here, we just gonna keep on going and going and going. Nobody gonna drop the mic. Hey, this has been Off the Checklist. Love what you collect. Make sure y'all check her out on Instagram. Show her some love. If y'all have any questions like that, tap into the DM. She's very, very responsive. We're humans. We always respond. And man, I look forward to continuing to grow this relationship, E.
For sure.
Man, blessings to you and yours. Have a great weekend, and I'm gonna tap in with you Saturday. After hold on, was it it wasn't the season finale this week, or they gonna keep us waiting?
Season finale is this week, followed by Tommy show.
Tommy, right after,
Yeah,
back to back with it.
right after.
So,
So
I'm gonna tap in with
we
you.
gotta
I'm
we
gonna
gotta
tap in
be
with
like
you.
Tio. We gotta get our popcorn ready.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, we might. I ain't gonna lie. We might have to do like an IG live power segment on
Right?
that.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. I can't wait.
Man. Man, I'm just happy Reek ain't in jail, because when Reek be in TV jail, when Ghost was in TV jail, I used to cry because they kept Ghost in jail for like 4 months
Yeah, they did.
during a
They
whole
did.
season. I was like I thought about Ghost every Saturday.
So like I told you, Reek is more like Tasha. Where Tasha at? Tasha not locked up no more. You know, I'm talking. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
Reek. I'm telling you.
and Ghost is and like Ghost, I can't. Ghost is a shady, cold person. All right, now let's just get off of this. Yeah. All right. Love you, E. I'll holla at you later. That's Off the
Peace.
Checklist. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll get with y'all in a minute. Peace.
Peace.